Welcome, gentle soul. Tonight, let the day slip away, feel your body soften, and your breath grow quiet. Together, we'll drift through 100 life-changing philosophies, softly spoken, gently unfolding, like feathers on a twilight breeze. Simply listen, and let your mind float, relaxed and unhurried. Let us begin. 1. Stoicism, the unshakable mind. Picture a lone oak tree, standing firm in a hurricane, roots deep, branches bending but unbroken. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate this same resilience in the face of life's storms. Born in ancient Athens, but perfected in Rome, this philosophy wasn't created for ivory tower debates, but for real-world survival. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire with it, Epictetus endured slavery through it, Seneca faced exile and death with it. Their secret, a radical focus on what's truly within their power. The Stoic distinction is simple, yet life-changing. Some things are up to us, our judgments, values, and actions, while most aren't, other people's opinions, the past, the weather. The moment you internalize this, ordinary frustrations transform into opportunities for growth. That traffic jam, a chance to practice patience. The rude comment, a test of your emotional discipline. Modern psychology confirms what Stoics knew. Our suffering comes not from events, but from our beliefs about them. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, directly borrows this insight. When you catch yourself stressed, ask the Stoic question, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, release it. This mental filter turns chaos into clarity. Stoicism doesn't demand emotionless rigidity. It's about responding wisely rather than reacting blindly. Journaling your daily struggles through a Stoic lens, deliberately embracing small discomforts, cold showers, fasting, mentally rehearsing challenges, these are the gym workouts for your mind. The payoff, unshakable calm, in a world that's permanently unstable. 2. Taoism, the way of water. Water is the softest thing in nature, yet it wears down mountains. It never argues, yet always finds its way. Taoism, crystallized in Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, reveals how to live with this effortless power. The Tao, meaning the way, is the invisible current of the universe, the natural order that makes birds migrate and seasons turn without force. The central paradox, by yielding you become unbreakable. A rigid tree snaps in a storm, bamboo bends and survives. This is Wu Wei, often mistranslated as non-action but better understood as action without strain. It's the art of doing without overdoing. Think of a skilled dancer who seems to float across the floor, or a seasoned gardener who works with the soil rather than against it. Modern life screams at us to push harder, but Taoism whispers, observe first. When conflict arises, don't meet force with force, step aside like a matador dodging a bull. Exhausted? Instead of caffeine-fueled grinding, try the Taoist approach, rest deeply then act from renewal. Nature doesn't rush, the bamboo doesn't strain to grow faster, yet everything gets done in perfect time. The Taoist path isn't passive, it's strategic. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to charge ahead and when to retreat. In our hyper-connected world, Taoism offers a sanctuary of natural rhythm. Next time you're stuck, ask, what would water do? Then flow around the obstacle instead of smashing against it. 3. Epicureanism, the art of subtle joy. The word Epicurean has been hijacked. Today it suggests lavish feasts and wine-soaked indulgence, but the original philosophy by Epicurus was shockingly different, a blueprint for finding richness in simplicity. His radical idea, the greatest pleasures are often the quietest. Epicurus divided desires into 3 categories. First, natural and necessary, wholesome food, basic shelter, true friendship. These bring lasting satisfaction and are easily obtained. Second, natural but unnecessary, gourmet meals, luxurious homes. These offer diminishing returns. Third, vain and empty, fame, power, excessive wealth. These are bottomless pits that breed more craving. His school, called the Garden, was no debauched party house but a tranquil retreat where friends discussed philosophy under olive trees. The menu, barley bread, cheese, and clean water, eaten with gratitude. Epicurus wasn't preaching austerity, he was exposing how we chase flashy pleasures while overlooking everyday miracles, sunlight through leaves, the sound of a friend's laughter, the comfort of a safe home. Modern science backs this up. Studies show that once basic needs are met, additional wealth contributes little to happiness. What does? Meaningful relationships, autonomy, and presence, exactly what Epicurus prioritized. His warning about the hedonic treadmill is more relevant than ever in our consumerist culture. The Epicurean challenge, audit your pleasures. That morning coffee, can you savor it fully instead of gulping it while scrolling? That quiet evening, might it be more rewarding than another expensive night out? As Epicurus said, not what we have but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance. For Buddhism, the freedom of letting go. A young prince named Siddhartha Gautama stepped outside his palace walls and encountered life's harsh truths, old age, sickness, death. This confrontation birthed Buddhism, not a religion about worship but a psychology of liberation. Its core insight, pain is inevitable but suffering is optional. The Buddha's Four Noble Truths are a diagnostic for human discontent. First, life contains dukkha, often translated as suffering but closer to chronic dissatisfaction. Second, this arises from tanha, craving for things to be different than they are. Third, freedom comes from releasing that grip. Fourth, the Eightfold Path, right understanding, intention, speech and more, is the way out. Imagine holding a hot coal, shouting at it to cool down. The pain only stops when you drop it. Similarly, our mental anguish comes not from life's inevitable pains but from our resistance to them, our raging against traffic, our obsession with lost loves, our terror of aging. Meditation trains the mind to observe these thoughts like clouds passing through the sky, neither clinging to pleasant ones nor fighting unpleasant ones. Neuroscience now reveals what Buddhists knew. Our self is less solid than we think. Brain scans show no central controller, just fleeting patterns of thought and sensation. This is anatta, no permanent self, not a depressing idea but a liberating one. If you're not your thoughts, you don't have to believe them all. In our distracted, achievement-obsessed world, Buddhism offers radical sanity. Next time anxiety strikes, try this. Pause, breathe, ask, what am I clinging to? Then loosen your grip. Beneath the storm of thoughts is an awareness that is always calm, like the depths of the ocean undisturbed by surface waves. 5. Existentialism, paint your own sky. Imagine waking up one day to realize, no gods wrote your destiny, no universal rulebook exists, and every meaning in your life was placed there by you. This terrifying freedom is existentialism's starting point. From Nietzsche's declaration that God is dead to Sartre's idea that existence precedes essence, this philosophy strips away illusions to reveal raw responsibility. Existentialists reject the idea that humans have predefined purposes like tools. A knife's essence is to cut, but what is a human's? Instead, we create our meaning through choices. Even avoiding choice, blindly following tradition or others' expectations, is still a choice. Camus took this further. If life has no inherent meaning, does that make it absurd? His answer, yes, and that's the beginning of true freedom. Consider Sisyphus, condemned by the gods to eternally push a boulder up a mountain only to watch it roll back down. Camus imagines him happy, not despite his futile task, but by embracing it as his own. This is existentialism's rebellious joy, dancing on the edge of the abyss. In practice, this means ruthless honesty. Why that career, that relationship, those values? If the answer is because I should or it's expected, existentialism calls that out. The barista who finds poetry in perfecting latte art lives more authentically than the lawyer who hates their job but stays for prestige. Our modern world is full of ready-made identities: consumer, influencer, careerist. Existentialism smashes these cages. Its question isn't what should I do, but who do I choose to be? As Kierkegaard put it, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Every moment is a brushstroke on a blank canvas, terrifying, exhilarating, and utterly yours. 6. Sufism, the whirling heart. Close your eyes. Hear the reed flute's mournful cry, Rumi's metaphor for the soul severed from divine source. Sufism is Islam's mystical heart, where ritual transforms into ecstatic union. Beyond mosques and texts, it seeks direct experience of the beloved, Allah, through love, poetry, music, and the whirling dance of dervishes. Each spin is a revolution against the ego. The dervish's outstretched arms receive heaven and release earth. At its core lies dhikr, repetition of sacred names until the self dissolves like salt in water. Die before you die, urged the Prophet Muhammad, a call to fana, ego death, where only God remains. Halai, executed for declaring I am truth, embodied this radical surrender. When the drop vanishes into the ocean, only ocean exists. Modern seekers find Sufism in Rumi's verses, the world's best-selling poet, yet true Sufism demands inner alchemy. A master once scolded a disciple, "You worship prayers, not God." In an age of hollow materialism, Sufism whispers, turn inward. The universe spins within the heart's silent chamber. 7. Ubuntu, the warmth of shared fire. Umuntun gumuntun gabantu. Zulu, a person is a person through other persons. Ubuntu, Southern Africa's gift to philosophy, rejects Western individualism. Imagine a village where a child's first word isn't ma, but we. Your pain is mine. Your joy lifts us all. When drought strikes, the last water jar is shared. When a stranger arrives, they are fed before asked their name. Desmond Tutu championed Ubuntu in South Africa's Truth Commission, healing trauma through collective listening. My humanity is bound up in yours, he insisted, not as poetry, but as survival logic. Where Descartes declared, I think, therefore I am, Ubuntu thunders, we belong, therefore I am. Modern applications? Companies like Ubuntu Energy bring solar power to villages. Leaders like Mandela forgave jailers because to destroy the enemy is to destroy yourself. In a fractured world, Ubuntu lights a fire, huddle close. Your freedom breathes in the lungs of others. 8. Vedanta, the ocean in the drop. You clutch a clay pot, terrified it might shatter. Vedanta, Hinduism's philosophical summit, whispers, why fear? You are the ocean, not the pot. Its core revelation, Tat Tvam Aci, thou art that. Beneath your name, job, and worries lies Brahman, infinite consciousness, and your true self, Atman, is a spark of that boundless fire. Maya, cosmic illusion, tricks us. Like a rope mistaken for a snake, we see separation where only unity exists. The path? Neti, not this, peel away identities until only the witness remains. Ramana Maharshi's method was ruthless, ask, who am I? Until false selves collapse. Modern Vedanta avoids temples for direct inquiry. When anxiety strikes, ask, who is anxious? Trace it to its root, silence. Quantum physics echoes this. Particles blink in out of existence, all part of one quantum field. As the Upanishads say, you are what your deepest desire is. As is your desire, so is your will. 9. Cynicism, the moonlit stroll of freedom. Diogenes, the dog philosopher, lived in a barrel, masturbated in public, and ate raw squid. When Alexander the Great offered him anything, he snapped, "Stop blocking my sun." Cynicism wasn't nihilism, it was liberation theater. Antisthenes, student of Socrates, founded it, reject wealth, fame, and comfort to live kata physin, according to nature. Why chase applause when stray dogs are freer than kings? A true cynic owned nothing, flouted etiquette, and exposed society's hypocrisies through shocking acts. Modern parallels? Punk rockers, minimalists, Greta Thunberg sailing to climate summits. Cynicism mocks our needs, designer labels, 5G phones, LinkedIn hustling. Its challenge, unburden your pack. Walk moonlit streets laughing. True wealth is needing nothing. 10. Absurdism, laughing with the stars. The universe is silent. Life has no meaning. Death wins. Albert Camus, philosopher of the absurd, responded, "Should I kill myself? Or have coffee?" His answer, revolt. Dance. In the myth of Sisyphus, Camus reimagines the Greek king doomed to eternally push a boulder uphill. Where others saw despair, Camus saw defiance. Sisyphus chooses to descend the hill each time, owning his futile task. One must imagine Sisyphus happy, he wrote, finding purpose in rebellion itself. Absurdism isn't nihilism. It's staring into the void and grinning. When life screams, "This is pointless," absurdism whispers, "So, paint anyway. Love anyway." Modern icons? Beckett's Tramps Waiting for Godot. Janis Joplin belting, "Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose." The cosmic joke? Meaning isn't found, it's forged in the act of living. When lost, Camus advised, "Walk. Your feet already know the way." 11. Confucianism, the symphony of society. Imagine society as an orchestra tuning before dawn. The parent-child bond is the steady cello, ruler-subject relations the guiding violin, friendships the playful flute. Confucianism, founded by Kongzi 551 to 479 BCE, conducts this harmony through Li, ritual propriety, and Ren, benevolent compassion. Every interaction, a bow, a shared meal, a respectful address, is a note in humanity's grand composition. Unlike legalism's iron fist, Confucius taught moral cultivation. Leaders inspire through virtue, not coercion, like the pole star, fixed, yet drawing constellations to orbit it. Filial piety is the root, honor parents, and you naturally extend respect to teachers, leaders, and strangers. The Junzi, or noble person, isn't aristocratic, but self-made, refined through studying classics, reflecting at dusk, and practicing etiquette until kindness becomes instinct. Modern echoes, Japanese tea ceremonies where grace is choreographed, Singapore's meritocratic social harmony. In our age of digital isolation, Confucianism whispers, true individuality blossoms within interconnectedness. Ritual isn't empty tradition, it's the glue binding us into something greater than ourselves. 12. Pragmatism, the sturdy bridge. Forget chasing abstract truth like a ghost. Pragmatism, forged by Charles Peirce and championed by William James and John Dewey, declares, truth is what works. Ideas are tools, not mirrors. Does believing X help you cross life's river? Then use it. Does it crumble? Discard it and build anew. Dewey saw democracy as a workshop. Citizens collaborate, test policies like prototypes, and iterate based on real-world results. James argued faith is pragmatic. Believing you can climb a mountain alters your stamina. A farmer doesn't debate soil theory, he plants seeds and adapts to the harvest. Tech thrives on pragmatism. Silicon Valley's fail-fast ethos values functional MVPs, minimum viable products, over perfect plans. When paralyzed by overanalysis, pragmatism cuts the knot, cross the bridge. If it holds, you've found truth in motion. It's philosophy for problem solvers, less why than how and what next. 13. Transcendentalism, the Forest Gospel. In 1836, Ralph Waldo Emerson stood in a Massachusetts forest and felt divinity in moss-covered stones. His essay Nature ignited Transcendentalism, America's spiritual revolt against industrial conformity. Thoreau embodied it at Walden Pond, chopping wood, tending beans, and writing that wildness is the preservation of the world. This was no rustic retreat but a rebellion. Institutions, churches, governments, corporations, corrupt the soul's innate wisdom. Self-reliance became the creed, trust your intuition over tradition. As Emerson wrote, do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Nature was their chapel, sunrises preached sermons, rivers whispered parables. Today, its legacy lives in environmentalism, mindfulness retreats, and digital detoxes. When Thoreau advised simplify, simplify, he offered an antidote to modern overwhelm: sit beneath an oak. Let the wind unscramble your thoughts. The universe hums in every leaf. 14. Hermeticism, the dewdrop universe. As above, so below. This axiom from Hermes Trismegistus's Emerald Tablet, c. 200c, unveils Hermeticism's core: the cosmos is a fractal mirror. Galaxies spiral like nautilus shells, neurons branch like rivers, thoughts ripple through reality like stones in a pond. Renaissance alchemists weren't mere gold seekers, they pursued inner transmutation. Leaden ego became golden consciousness through 7 universal laws. Mentalism, all is mind. Correspondence, macrocosm reflects microcosm. Vibration, energy animates matter. Paracelsus healed using celestial herbs. Giordano Bruno died defending cosmic unity. Quantum physics now echoes Hermeticism. Observers alter particles. Entanglement proves interconnectedness. Rituals are psychic tech, candles, symbols, and mantras focus intention to align personal will with cosmic flow. In a fragmented world, Hermeticism heals. You are no accident. You are a conscious thread in the universe's living tapestry, whole, holy, and humming with stardust. 15. Nihilism, the quiet yes. Nietzsche's madman lit a lantern in daylight, crying, "God is dead, and we have killed him." Nihilism is the void left behind. No inherent meaning, no cosmic purpose, no moral absolutes. Dostoevsky's Ivan Karamazov lamented, "If God does not exist, everything is permitted." Yet this abyss holds liberation. Like an empty canvas, the lack of predetermined meaning grants terrifying freedom. Camus rebelled against nihilism in the myth of Sisyphus. Even doomed to eternally push a boulder, Sisyphus chooses his defiance, thus conquering despair. Modern nihilism pulses in meme culture's absurd humor and post-apocalyptic films. But Japanese kintsugi, mending broken pottery with gold, shows the beauty in embracing fracture. Nihilism's gift? Radical honesty. Build sandcastles knowing the tide will take them. Love fiercely though hearts break. As Beckett wrote, "I can't go on. I'll go on." The universe whispers nothing, so you get to whisper back everything. 16. Humanism, honor the soft miracle. Humanism is a love letter to human potential, a philosophy that places earthly existence, not divine decree, at the center of meaning. Born in Renaissance Florence when scholars like Petrarch dusted off classical scrolls, it declared, You are not a pawn of fate or a vessel of sin, you are the artist of your own dignity. Pico della Mirandola's oration on the dignity of man, 1486, thundered, "We have made you neither celestial nor terrestrial, so that you may sculpt yourself into whatever form you choose." Humanists like Erasmus mocked hollow rituals, while Montaigne penned essays celebrating human quirks. Every man bears the entire form of the human condition. Modern humanism rejects supernatural saviors. When astronomer Carl Sagan called Earth a pale blue, he reframed our cosmic solitude not as despair, but as motivation. This fragile world is all we have, let's protect it together. It's the doctor volunteering in refugee camps, the teacher nurturing curiosity over conformity, the novelist weaving empathy from ink. Critics call it naive, but humanists answer, radical hope is our superpower. In a world of algorithms and apathy, it asks, what legacy vibrates in your brief, blazing life? No Messiah is coming, we must mend the cracks in society. As Camus insisted, real generosity toward the future lies in giving all to the present. Honor the fragile miracle in every stranger's eyes, and in your own reflection. 17. Quietism, rest in the hush. Imagine sinking into a lake at midnight, your thoughts dissolving until only liquid silence remains. This is Quietism, the mystical art of surrendering effort to touch the divine. In 17th century France, Madame Guyon wrote a short and easy method of prayer, arguing that God speaks not in storms or scripture, but in the gentle whisper, 1 Kings 19 verse 12. Her path? Orison passive, stilling the mind like a becalmed sea, so grace could flood in. The seed must die to bear fruit, she wrote, urging followers to abandon even the desire for holiness. Spanish mystic Saint John of the Cross named this surrender the dark night of the soul, when ego burns away, leaving luminous emptiness. The Vatican condemned Quietism as heresy, too intimate, too effortless, imprisoning Guyon for rejecting clerical intermediaries. Yet its essence pulses in Zen Zazen, sitting in pure awareness, Quaker meeting silence, and modern mindfulness. Neuroscientists now confirm, brain scans of contemplatives show delta waves syncing with the Earth's electromagnetic field, a literal resonance with the cosmos. In our age of digital screech, Quietism whispers, stop chasing epiphanies. Cease bargaining with the universe. Lie fallow like winter soil. Divinity breathes in the pause between heartbeats, in the hush where mortal and eternal brush fingertips. 18. Shinto, bow to the living spirit. Enter a Shinto shrine at dawn. Moss carpet stone steps. A Temizuya fountain purifies your hands. You clap twice, kashiwade, to wake the kami, sacred presence, then bow as sunlight bleeds through cedars. Shinto, Japan's indigenous faith, has no founder, no dogma, no concept of sin. Its creed? Animism as awe. Kami dwell in all things, the fury of a typhoon, Fujin, the serenity of a cherry tree, Sakura no Mai, the quiet intelligence of a river stone. Ancient chronicles like the Kojiki, 712 CE, tell of kami birthing islands from brine. Rituals honor this kinship. Ohari cleanses collective impurity with paper streamers. Matsuri festivals whirl with masked dancers thanking rice spirits. After the 2011 tsunami, priests performed chinkasai to pacify the traumatized kami of Fukushima's waters. Modern Japan still bows to this harmony. Architect Kengo Kumar designs buildings around power spots. Studio Ghibli films hum with forest spirits, Kodama. Shinto's genius is its embodied poetry. To sip matcha from a raku bowl is to commune with the clay's kami. To walk an Ai's Jingu forest path is to feel the air thrum with musubi, creative energy. Unlike Western divisions, sacred versus profane, Shinto sees the cosmos as a living tapestry, every thread luminous. Its invitation? Bow to the spirit in the crow's core, the rusted train track, the curl of steam from your soup. The divine isn't beyond, it's breathing in the leaf at your feet. 19. Feminist Philosophy, the unsilencing. Picture Mary Wollstonecraft in 1792, ink-stained hands drafting a vindication of the rights of woman while London scorned her as a hyena in petticoats. Feminist philosophy began here, not as abstraction, but as rebellion against the lie that women lack rational souls. Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex, 1949, dissected how one is not born, but rather becomes woman, crafted by society into the other, the moon to man's sun. The 1970s birthed radical waves. Carol Gilligan exposed ethics of care, prioritizing relationships over rules, while bell hooks intertwined race, class, and gender, declaring feminism is for everybody. Judith Butler shattered binaries, showing gender as performance, a script we can rewrite. Critiques targeted hidden architectures, language, man as default, economics, unpaid women's work, even epistemology, objective knowledge as masculine myth. Today, Sara Ahmed analyzes feminist killjoys who disrupt toxic positivity, and Kimberly Crenshaw's intersectionality maps how identities overlap like storm systems. Ecofeminists like Von Donner shiver link patriarchy to ecological violence. This isn't theory for ivory towers, it's the teacher grading girls' math papers as rigorously as boys, the CEO auditing pay gaps, the father rejecting pink jobs. Feminist philosophy whispers, your voice is not too gentle. Your body is not an apology. The world shifts when you speak your full name. 20. Stoic Joy, Eudaimonia the Night Garden. Forget the stereotype, Stoics weren't emotionless statues. They sought eudaimonia, flourishing like a night blooming Sirius, radiant in darkness. Seneca wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present without dependence on tomorrow. While Epicureans chased pleasure, Stoics cultivated an inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius faced plague and war, yet journaled, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. His joy came not from victories, but from virtue, wisdom to discern control, his judgments, from chaos, invading armies. Epictetus, born enslaved, taught, happiness is freedom from desire for what isn't yours. This joy is active, tending friendships like rare orchids, turning obstacles into fuel, sickness patience training, and greeting dawn with a more Fati, love of fate. Modern science validates this. Gratitude journals rewire brains for resilience. CBT therapy borrows Stoic reframing. When a nurse finds purpose in holding a dying patient's hand, she embodies eudaimonia. It's not denying pain, it's knowing you aren't the pain. Like a lotus rooted in mud but blooming toward light, Stoic joy whispers, your garden grows within. Tend it fiercely. 21. Aquinas' natural law, the deep current. Beneath the roar of human laws and wars, Thomas Aquinas, 1225–1274, sensed a river, a natural law written into creation itself. Drawing from Aristotle and Scripture, he argued, just as fire rises and acorns become oaks, humans incline toward goodness through reason. Good isn't arbitrary, it aligns with our God-given nature. His framework unfolds in 4 tiers. Eternal law, God's cosmic blueprint. Divine law, Scriptures guiding believers. Natural law, universal ethics knowable by reason. Do good, avoid evil. Human law, society's shifting codes, just only if rooted in number 3. Killing violates natural law, not because the Bible says so, but because reason affirms life's sanctity. Same for nurturing children or seeking truth. When human law clashes with natural law, e.g., apartheid, Aquinas sanctioned rebellion. Modern echoes? MLK invoked natural law against segregation. An unjust law is no law at all. Bioethicists use it to debate AI rights. Environmentalists appeal to our natural duty to protect ecosystems. In an age of moral relativism, Aquinas offers an anchor: listen. The current hums in your bones. When you feed the hungry, defend the weak, or choose honesty. Morality isn't invented. It's discovered, like buried gold. 22. Jain Ahimsa. Jain Ahimsa is not simply the act of avoiding violence. It is a complete lifestyle rooted in compassion, gentleness, and deep mindfulness. It asks you to become so aware, so delicate in your living, that not even a single breath causes unnecessary harm. In Jain tradition, every living being, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is believed to possess a soul. A worm beneath the soil, a breeze that carries invisible microbes, even a drop of water, all are seen as sacred, alive in their own way. Therefore, Ahimsa becomes a soft and sacred art of living. Imagine walking through life with such care that each footstep is a prayer. You are aware of where you walk, what you consume, and how your actions ripple through the web of life. Jains practice this by eating only vegetarian food, sometimes even filtering water before drinking to avoid harming microscopic life. Some wear masks, not out of fear, but out of deep respect, so their breath doesn't accidentally harm tiny beings in the air. This philosophy teaches that true peace begins with intention. It's about choosing love over harm in every moment, choosing softness over force, stillness over impulse. It invites us to see all life as interconnected, a tapestry of countless souls journeying together. As you breathe now, picture your body becoming lighter, softer, as if you are floating above the earth, touching nothing, disturbing no one. In this quiet state, Ahimsa becomes not just a concept, but a gentle way to live. It is peacefulness turned into action. Let this awareness cradle you tonight, a soft heart in a sleeping world, where no being is too small to be loved. 23. Panpsychism. Panpsychism is a philosophy that gently invites you to imagine a world where everything, yes, everything, has a trace of awareness. Not awareness like humans have, not thoughts or emotions, but a soft kind of presence. A quiet noticing. A subtle inner life. Under this view, the stars are not just cold fire in the sky. The rocks under your feet are not empty matter. The air, the light, the water, all of it hums softly with the echo of consciousness. This doesn't mean that your pillow thinks, or that your coffee cup has opinions. Rather, it suggests that at the smallest level of existence, at the level of atoms and particles, there is a flicker of experience. A quiet hum, a kind of knowing so faint and still that it escapes our attention. And yet, it's there. Everywhere. Panpsychism helps you feel less alone. It reminds you that you are part of a living universe, not a mechanical one. It encourages reverence, not just for people or animals, but for the ordinary things, the silent things, the background of our lives. It allows for mystery, for wonder, for listening. As you drift toward sleep, let this vision cradle you. You are not lying in a lifeless room, but in a space filled with quiet companionship. The bed beneath you, the air around you, even the light filtering through your eyelids, all are gently present with you. Feel the stillness. Feel the safety. Let the idea wash over you like warm waves. You are held in a cosmos that feels with you, breathes with you, is with you. Panpsychism doesn't explain everything. It doesn't need to. It simply invites you to fall asleep inside a universe that listens. 24. Process philosophy. Process philosophy tells us that nothing stays the same. not the stars in the sky, not the mountains, not you. Everything is becoming, evolving, shifting, like a flowing river that never stands still. And in this vision, there are no fixed things, only flowing processes. You are not a solid object, not a finished product. You are motion. You are growth. You are change, unfolding gently with each passing moment. This way of seeing the world is soft and deeply accepting. It frees us from the pressure to be complete or to have everything figured out. In process philosophy, there is no demand to remain the same. In fact, staying the same is impossible. Life is always moving. Every breath you take, every thought you have, every experience, they all shape you, and you are never the same person twice. Instead of resisting this movement, process philosophy teaches us to embrace it, to lean into change, to trust that every ending is also a new becoming. Nothing is wasted. Everything is part of the unfolding. So, as you lie down to sleep, think of your day not as a list of failures or successes, but as a chapter in the great poem of your becoming. Let go of the need to hold things tightly. You are not meant to stay in place. You are meant to drift gently forward like a cloud across a vast sky. There is peace in change. There is softness in surrender. And there is deep beauty in knowing that you are part of an endless rhythm, the rhythm of becoming again and again, always new, always gentle. Let go now and rest in the flow. 25. Hedonism Revisited. Hedonism is often misunderstood. Many hear the word and think only of indulgence, of fleeting pleasures and endless cravings. But there is a softer, wiser form of hedonism, one that invites us to seek deep and enduring pleasures, not the loud, not the overwhelming, but the kind that lingers gently in the soul like the warmth of evening light. This form of hedonism doesn't rush. It doesn't chase. It listens. It knows that true pleasure is not in excess, but in presence. It finds joy in the first sip of tea on a quiet morning, in the feel of fresh sheets against your skin, in the tender gaze of someone who sees you. It is pleasure that leaves you unruffled, not restless. Full, not frantic. Hedonism Revisited is about learning what nourishes rather than excites. It's about being attuned to the things that make your life quietly rich, the kind of joys that don't fade when the lights go out. A walk under trees. A familiar melody. A moment of stillness with yourself. These pleasures ask for no escape, they deepen your presence. So as you lie down, ask yourself, what brings peace to your heart, not just stimulation to your senses? Let your breath slow. Let the body rest. Let the simple comfort of being here, now, fill you. This is the heart of refined hedonism, to taste life fully, gently, meaningfully. No excess. No grasping. Just a soft appreciation for the tender joys of existence. In this stillness, may you rediscover that pleasure doesn't need to be loud. It can be as quiet as a sigh, as lasting as a memory, as light as a feather on the soul. 26. Phenomenology. Phenomenology is the art of returning to the immediate, to what is right here, right now. It asks you not to explain your experience, not to analyze it, but simply to notice it. With tenderness. With curiosity. With silence. Like fingertips grazing silk, you don't need to understand the fabric to feel its softness. You only need to attend. This philosophy, shaped by thinkers like Husserl and Merleau-Ponty, gently leads you back to your senses. It invites you to observe the world not as an outsider, but as someone inside the moment. The light coming through your window, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet weight of your body against the bed. These are not background. These are your world. Phenomenology doesn't ask you to escape reality. It asks you to meet it, face to face, without judgment. To notice how warmth feels, how a thought arises and fades, how time stretches, how stillness wraps around you like a gentle shawl. It asks you to become aware, not to change anything, but to be present for everything. In doing this, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel more rooted, more whole, less scattered. Your life, which may have felt like a blur, becomes textured again, rich, slow, and deeply human. So let this be your practice tonight. Feel the air on your skin. Notice the shape of stillness in the room. Let the soft details of your world come into focus, like stars emerging in a dark sky. Don't rush. Don't analyze. Just be with the moment, exactly as it is. Phenomenology reminds us that life is not found in explanations, but in experience. And in this moment, raw, quiet, and true, you are already home. 27. Stoic Amor Fati. Amor Fati, to love one's fate, is a Stoic whisper from deep time. It does not mean simply accepting what happens. It means embracing it, as if every twist and turn in your life were a note in a song written just for you. Not every note is sweet, not every chord easy, but the melody is yours, ancient, familiar, and strangely beautiful. In Stoic thought, Amor Fati is not passive surrender. It is courageous love for the path you walk, even when the road is rough, even when the rain comes, even when the light dims. It is the heart's quiet decision to say, yes, this too belongs. This too is part of me. It is easy to wish things had gone differently, to imagine another version of your life, brighter, simpler, smoother. But Stoicism says that imagined life is not real. What is real is this breath, this night, this heartbeat. And if you can love that, even with its bruises and pauses, you can find peace. So lie back now and listen. Can you hear the music of your own life? The little harmonies and pauses, the dissonances that resolve? Each sorrow, each joy, each moment you thought you wouldn't survive, they brought you here, to this very breath. This is the song. And Amor Fati is learning to love it as it is. Not out of bitterness, not out of force, but out of deep alignment with the rhythm of the world. Let that idea rock you to sleep tonight. Everything belongs. Everything is yours. And everything, even the shadows, is part of the gift. 28. Virtue Ethics. Virtue ethics is the philosophy of becoming, not through rules or rewards, but through the quiet cultivation of character. Imagine yourself as an ancient cedar tree, growing patiently, year by year, ring by ring. You are not defined by a single moment, but by the steady layering of choices, values, and habits over time. This philosophy, rooted in Aristotle's wisdom, invites you to ask not just what should I do, but who am I becoming? Every action, no matter how small, is a brushstroke on the portrait of your soul. Are you becoming kind? Just? Courageous? Honest? Virtue ethics does not demand perfection. It honors effort, intention, and slow growth. Virtues are not traits we are born with, they are qualities we grow into. Like watering a plant or tending a flame, they require care, attention, and repetition. You practice patience when life is hurried. You practice courage when fear knocks. You practice humility when pride tempts. Over time, these practices become part of who you are, deep, rooted, enduring. This path is not loud or flashy. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic transformations. It's about consistency, reflection, choosing the good even when no one is watching. Virtue becomes your quiet anchor in a changing world. As you lie in stillness now, Imagine your own inner cedar tree. Picture the rings, wide or narrow, each marking a season of effort, of growth. Feel the strength in your trunk, the reach of your branches, the shelter you offer to others without even realizing it. In the quiet of this night, may you trust in the slow work of character. You are growing ring by ring, and that is more than enough. 29. Skepticism. Skepticism, at its heart, is not about doubting everything. It's about holding belief lightly, gently, as one might hold a feather to test the direction of the wind. It is a philosophy of openness, curiosity, and humility. Instead of grasping tightly onto certainty, the skeptic listens carefully, asks thoughtful questions, and remains willing to change course if the breeze shifts. This doesn't mean a skeptic rejects truth, only that they understand how easily humans can be mistaken. Our senses, our memories, our assumptions, all are fallible. So skepticism becomes a soft, mindful caution, a reminder to pause before deciding. To wonder, how do I know, rather than I already know. In ancient times, the skeptics were seekers of peace. They believed that suspending judgment, epoche, could bring calm to the mind. Like unburdening yourself of too heavy beliefs, you lighten the load by not needing to have every answer. You learn to live in mystery, not as fear, but as possibility. This doesn't lead to paralysis, it leads to freedom. You explore ideas with care. You listen better. You speak more kindly, knowing that your truth may not be the only truth. You live in a gentle posture of wonder. So as you drift tonight, imagine yourself holding a feather in your hand. Let it dance on the air. Feel how light it is. That is how lightly you can hold your thoughts, your beliefs, your worries, not discarded, but not clutched. Trusted, but only as far as they guide gently, not rigidly. In this open-handed space, may your mind find peace. There is no need to grip tight. The wind will carry you. Let it. 30. The Golden Mean. The golden mean is the wisdom of balance, a quiet path between extremes, where life flows gently, like a stream between two high cliffs. Originating in Aristotle's ethical thought, this philosophy reminds us that virtue often lives not in the loudest places, but in the middle, where neither excess nor deficiency takes hold. Courage is the mean between recklessness and cowardice. Generosity is the space between stinginess and extravagance. Confidence lies between arrogance and insecurity. In every quality, there is a center, a calm, sturdy core that allows us to act wisely, harmoniously, and in alignment with our deeper selves. The golden mean doesn't suggest blandness. It doesn't ask you to avoid passion or intensity. Instead, it invites right proportion, a dance of discernment. Knowing when to speak and when to listen. When to give and when to hold. When to rest and when to rise. In practice, it feels like breathing evenly. Like walking a forest trail where the light is dappled, not blinding or dark. It is the sense of being centered, not swayed by impulse or pulled by extremes. It is a return to stillness. As you close your eyes now, imagine yourself stepping onto this middle path. Feel the ground beneath your feet, steady, welcoming. To one side, noise, overdoing, urgency. To the other, withdrawal, fear, hesitation. But here, in the center, everything relaxes. You do not need to be too much or too little. You are just enough. Let this thought settle over you. The right way often lies not in the edge, but in the middle. Not in shouting, but in silence. Not in more, but in balance. Here, you rest. Here, you breathe. Here, you are aligned. 31. Anarchism of the heart. Anarchism of the heart is not about chaos. It is not a call to disorder or rebellion, but an invitation to trust, deeply, naturally, instinctively. To believe that when left free, human beings can organize themselves with grace, cooperation, and care. It draws inspiration not from noise and struggle, but from nature's quiet intelligence, from murmuring starlings, flocking not by command but by instinct, forming great, fluid patterns in the sky without a leader, without a plan. This philosophy imagines a world where power does not dominate from above, but flows freely among equals. Where rules do not cage us, but where relationships guide us. It tells us that people, when nurtured, not controlled, can live with dignity, mutual respect, and gentle solidarity. Anarchism of the heart is not about burning things down, it's about unlearning fear. It's about replacing control with trust, suspicion with dialogue, punishment with understanding. It asks us to believe in one another again, not naively, but hopefully, tenderly. So as you lie here, breathing into stillness, imagine a sky filled with birds, not flying in straight lines, not marching to orders, but turning, swirling, rising as one. Each bird is free, but none is alone. This is the heart of the idea, freedom and togetherness, dancing. Let your body settle into this trust, that harmony can be natural, that community can be chosen, and that perhaps the deepest order arises not from rules, but from love. 32. Cosmopolitanism. Cosmopolitanism invites you to see the world not as divided by borders, flags, or languages, but as a single, shared home. It asks you to imagine yourself not just as a citizen of a nation, but as a citizen of the world. Beneath the vast sky stitched with constellations, we are all held by the same stars, the same gravity, the same longings for peace, meaning, and connection. This philosophy doesn't erase differences, it honors them. It encourages you to listen to voices unlike your own, to learn from cultures far from your own doorstep, and to feel a kinship with strangers whose lives may look different but whose hearts beat with the same quiet hopes. Cosmopolitanism offers a gentle antidote to isolation. It softens the illusion of us versus them and replaces it with a simple truth: we share air, we share oceans, we share the trembling of time and the stories we pass down. The borders between us are lines drawn in sand, but the human experience flows like water across all boundaries. As you rest now, picture yourself beneath an unfamiliar sky, perhaps over a mountain range you've never climbed or a city you've never walked through. And yet, feel the deep comfort of it. The air is still yours. The stars still shimmer in recognition. The world is not foreign. It is familiar in 1,000 small ways. Let this comfort wash over you, the sense that you belong anywhere goodness lives. That kindness speaks every language. That beneath every sky, you are home. 33. Deconstruction. Deconstruction is the gentle art of untangling meaning. It is not destruction, not tearing down ideas in anger, but rather a careful untying, like fingers slowly loosening a knotted thread, allowing space, light, and breath to return to old patterns. Originating in the thought of Derrida, this philosophy invites you to step back from the way language, culture, and assumptions quietly shape how we see the world. Every word we speak carries hidden weight. Every structure of thought, beliefs, systems, definitions, rests on layers of things we've rarely questioned. Deconstruction asks, what are we standing on? What assumptions lie beneath this meaning? Where are the cracks? Where might new meaning grow? But it does so softly, with patience, with curiosity. It doesn't offer neat answers. Instead, it opens space. It lets us re-see things we thought we understood. It's not about confusion, it's about freedom. When you gently pull apart something rigid, it doesn't collapse. It breathes. Deconstruction invites you to become a kind of mindful gardener of ideas. Not hacking at the roots, but gently loosening the soil. Making room for new growth. Making room for nuance, complexity, difference. So as you fall into rest, picture a tightly wound knot in your mind, a belief, a fear, a story long held. Now imagine your fingers slowly, kindly easing it apart. Not to erase it, not to judge it, but to release what's trapped inside. To let air in, to let meaning expand. This is the gift of deconstruction, to unfasten the old, not in anger, but in love, making space for new understandings to arrive like morning light. 34. Pythagorean Harmony. Pythagorean harmony is the ancient and tender belief that the universe is not just structured by numbers, it is sung by them. That beneath the surface of matter, behind the veil of form, there is a music playing. A music made not of notes, but of ratios, of patterns, of perfect balance. To the followers of Pythagoras, numbers weren't just tools. They were sacred, a language whispered by the cosmos itself. A triangle, a spiral, a circle, each echoed with spiritual significance. Harmony, they believed, was not just in music, but in the very laws of existence. The orbits of the planets, the shape of a leaf, the rhythm of a heartbeat, all part of an invisible symphony of numbers. In this view, to live well is to align with that hidden music. To find your rhythm, to move in proportion. Not too fast, not too slow, but in tune. So as you drift into rest, imagine the world around you as a great, silent song. The stars spin in their silent measures. The ocean sways in mathematical rhythm. Your breath rises and falls in time with a universal melody. You don't need to solve equations to hear it. Just listen to the spaces between your thoughts, to the pulse in your wrists, to the stillness that surrounds everything. Pythagorean harmony teaches us that life, at its deepest level, is beauty made audible through number. It tells us we belong to something orderly, graceful, eternal. And in that gentle knowledge, that your being is part of a soft cosmic pattern, may you find peace. You are not separate. You are a note in the divine song. 35. Integral theory. Integral theory is a philosophy of wholeness. It sees human life not as fragmented parts, but as one soft, interconnected fabric. Mind, body, soul, culture, society, and nature all woven together in a single unfolding. It says, nothing is separate. Nothing stands alone. Each piece, each perspective, matters. Created by Ken Wilber and inspired by many traditions, from Eastern mysticism to Western science, integral theory offers a wide, welcoming lens. It doesn't tell you to pick just one view. It asks you to hold many at once. The individual and the collective. The inner life and the outer system. The body's wisdom and the mind's clarity. All are threads in the same great tapestry. It gently reminds us that complexity is not chaos, it is richness. And integration is not confusion, it is deep harmony. So as you rest tonight, imagine yourself wrapped in a quilt of many colors. One square is your personal experience. Another is your culture. Another is the structure of society. Another, your quiet dreams. All stitched together, not neatly, but lovingly. That is the heart of this philosophy, inclusion without force. Unity without erasure. Integral theory is a call to expand your seeing. To honor science and spirit, action and reflection, self and world. It is a reminder that everything belongs. Even contradictions. Even things you don't yet understand. Let this thought cradle you now. You are not just a mind, not just a body, not just a role or a name. You are a constellation. A gathering of truths. A living integration. Rest in this wholeness. Let the many within you find peace as one. 36. Stoic memento mori. Memento mori, remember you must die. A phrase simple and stark, yet in Stoic thought, it becomes something gentle, something luminous. It is not meant to frighten. It is meant to sweeten life, like the soft glow of a lantern in twilight, making each moment more precious, more vivid, more tender. The Stoics believed that remembering death was a way of learning how to truly live. To hold each breath with reverence. To wake each morning with gratitude. To release what does not matter, because time is finite. We are here only for a while, and that while, brief as it may be, is enough for meaning, for beauty, for love. Memento mori isn't about despair. It is about presence. When we accept the truth of our mortality, we stop waiting to begin. We stop chasing what does not nourish. We see that everything, the laugh of a friend, the warmth of tea, the light on the floor, is fleeting and therefore sacred. So now, in the hush of this evening, let that lantern glow softly inside you. Not a harsh light, but a warm one. Feel it illuminating your chest, your thoughts, your breath. You do not need forever. You only need this. This inhale. This softness. This night. Let death not be the end of your thoughts, but the beginning of your awareness. Let it guide your choices gently, like a wise friend. And as sleep gathers, may you find comfort in this, that life is brief, yes, but that is what makes it tender. What makes it luminous? What makes it enough? 38. Asterisk asterisk aesthetics of the everyday asterisk asterisk. Notice beauty hiding in chipped cups and twilight laundry lines. 37. Dialectics. Dialectics is the quiet art of holding opposites, not in conflict, but in conversation. It is the space where contradiction does not mean chaos, but possibility. One idea meets its opposite, and instead of cancelling each other out, they begin to dance. Gently, thoughtfully, and from their movement, something new is born. Not compromise, but transformation. Originating in ancient philosophy and carried forward by thinkers like Hegel and Marx, dialectics teaches us that the world is not static. Everything evolves, thoughts, societies, selves, through tension and resolution. A thesis arises, is met by its antithesis, and from their interaction emerges a synthesis, something wiser, broader, more complete. This process mirrors life itself. Within you are opposing desires, joy and sorrow, certainty and doubt, fear and hope. Rather than silencing one side, dialectics invites you to let them speak to each other, to let inner conflict unfold into insight, to trust that tension can lead not to breaking, but to blooming. As you rest, imagine two thoughts spinning slowly inside you, like stars in orbit. Let them spiral gently toward understanding, not argument. Watch how they soften, how they reach toward something higher, something whole. Dialectics teaches that truth is not one-sided. It lives in the space between. It grows from dialogue, from evolution. So tonight, you don't need to resolve every contradiction. Just let them breathe. Let them dance. Trust that clarity is already forming, quietly, patiently, like dawn behind the hills. 38. Spiritual non-duality. Spiritual non-duality is the soft dissolving of division, a letting go of the idea that there is an in here and an out there, a self and a world, a seeker and what is sought. In this quiet vision, there is only one seamless, spacious being, a great presence without edge or center. And you are not in it. You are it. In many traditions, from Advaita Vedanta to Taoism to mystical branches of Buddhism, this philosophy arises like still water, clear, undisturbed. It does not ask you to believe or strive or perform. It simply points to what is already true beneath the noise, that awareness is not something you have, but something you are. There is no need to grasp. No need to chase peace, love, or enlightenment. The moment you stop dividing the world into me and not me, a deep quiet opens. A softness. A merging. You are the breath, and the one who watches the breath. The sky, and the eye that gazes upward. The sound, and the silence holding it. So now, close your eyes and let boundaries melt. Let the concept of you fall away like mist. What remains? Spacious being. A gentle presence that holds all things, without needing to grasp any of them. Non-duality is not a rejection of the world, it is the world known truly. Felt completely. A single field of presence, intimate and infinite at once. And in that sacred stillness, let your breath rest. Let your mind open like a wide horizon. There is nothing to fix. Nothing to chase. You are already home. 39. Social contract. The social contract is an unspoken agreement, not written in law, but etched softly in the heart. It is the quiet understanding between people. I will care for you, and you will care for me. I will restrain my hand, my voice, my hunger for power, not out of fear, but out of shared respect. Out of our common humanity. This idea, explored by thinkers like Rousseau, Hobbes, and Locke, forms the foundation of peaceful societies. But it goes deeper than rules or governance. It is not only about governments and laws. It is about kindness at the bus stop, silence in the library, a door held open, a blanket shared on a cold night. It is about choosing not to take when you could, about giving a little more so others don't have to give everything. It's about trust that others are trying too, that under the surface of a busy world there is a collective whisper, let's get through this together. As you lie in the stillness of night, remember this gentle contract. It's not written in stone. It doesn't need to be. It's written in glances, in gestures, in everyday mercies. Picture a city asleep. Behind each window, someone rests. Someone dreams. Someone hopes. You do not know their names, but they are part of your world. They live beside you in this shared human night. The social contract is not enforced, it's felt. A fragile promise, renewed in each act of kindness. Each choice to be good when no one is watching. Let that promise hold you now, a quiet bond between strangers, warm as candlelight in a dark room. Together, we build peace. 40. Deep ecology. Deep ecology invites you to step beyond the illusion of separation, to see not just the beauty of the natural world, but your oneness with it. It tells us we are not above nature, not masters of it, but part of it. Rivers are not just resources, they are relatives. Owls are not decorations in trees, they are kin. Mountains are not background, they are ancestors holding time in stone. This philosophy asks us to slow down, breathe deep, and recognize the earth as a living, breathing presence, not a stage for human stories, but a sacred cradle of life in which all beings belong. Human and animal, forest and fungus, rain and root. Deep ecology doesn't demand action through guilt, it invites reverence. It teaches that true ecological healing begins with love, not fear. When we feel the life in a tree, the story in a grain of soil, the spirit in a wild fox's eyes, we no longer need to be convinced to care. We simply do. Because it is us we are caring for. All life is a mirror. As you lie still tonight, imagine your body resting on the earth's blue belly. Feel the ancient cradle beneath you. Hear the lullaby of leaves in the breeze. Let the breath of the world become your own. You are not apart. You are a thread in the great tapestry, equal, sacred, needed. And in that knowing, may you rest, connected, cherished, whole. 41. Liberation Theology. Liberation theology rises from the hush between prayer and protest. It is the echo of gospel songs sung beneath trembling rafters. The voice of hope rising from weary fields. The heartbeat of justice pulsing through quiet sanctuaries. This philosophy asks us not just to speak of God, but to act with God, especially in the service of the poor, the oppressed, the silenced. It is born not from comfort, but from struggle. It does not wait for heaven to come, it helps build heaven here. It sees each hungry child, each forgotten laborer, each imprisoned soul, not as burdens to bear, but as sacred faces of the divine. God is not only in the steeple, but in the street. Not only in the text, but in the torn. Liberation theology teaches that faith must do more than whisper, it must move. It must lift. It must break the chains that still remain in quiet places. But it also holds tenderness. It carries lullabies. It believes that every act of compassion is a hymn. So now, as you lie in the hush of night, imagine distant church bells ringing across a sleeping town. Imagine their sound drifting over rooftops, over fields, over alleys. A soft call, do not forget the forgotten. Do not rest while others weep. Yet also, rest, so you may rise again with strength. Rest, and remember what is sacred. Let the bells ring not in fear, but in grace. You are part of the great unfolding, and your gentleness is not weakness. It is a kind of prayer. Sleep now, with justice curled beside you like a loyal dog. Tomorrow waits, and with it, the call to love boldly again. 42. Minimalism. Minimalism is the quiet art of letting go, of releasing what is heavy, loud, unnecessary, not just in your room, but in your thoughts. It is not about empty walls or strict rules. It's about space. Space to breathe. Space to feel. Space to hear your own heart whisper again. This philosophy doesn't demand sacrifice, it invites clarity. Each object you remove is not a loss, but a clearing. Each no makes way for a deeper yes. It's about tuning your life like a delicate instrument, removing the noise so that the true melody can rise. Minimalism is not sterile. It is soft. It's a single candle instead of 10 harsh lights. One meaningful book instead of a crowded shelf. A quiet mind instead of endless chatter. It asks, what matters? And answers gently, with intention. As you lie down now, feel your room soften. The clutter fades away. What remains is calm, curated, enough. Your thoughts begin to follow, releasing regrets, expectations, stories that no longer serve. Imagine your mind like a wide, clean floor. Open windows. White curtains drifting. A breeze moves through, clear, fresh, unburdened. Minimalism reminds us that fullness is not in abundance, but in attention. That peace is not made of things, but of presence. So exhale. Let go. In this gentle emptiness, everything essential remains. 43. Absence of self, anatta. Anatta, or the absence of self, is a teaching from Buddhism that whispers gently, what you think you are is not fixed. The self, this idea of me, is not a solid stone. It's a swirl of memories, feelings, roles, reactions. A pattern, not a person. A dance, not a dancer. Anatta doesn't deny your experience. It honors it, while reminding you that identity is always changing. Just as sugar dissolves in warm tea, slowly vanishing yet sweetening every drop, The self dissolves when we look closely. What remains is presence, spacious, open, ungraspable. There is freedom here. If the self is not fixed, neither is suffering. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not even your name. You are breath, sensation, awareness moving across the sky of each moment. As you rest now, let yourself loosen. Imagine the boundaries melting between you and the bed, the room, the world. There's no edge to you. Just quiet. Just being. In this absence, you don't disappear. You become vast. You become the cup holding the tea warming the hands, the warmth softening the night. Let go and feel that softness. There's nothing to protect. Nothing to fix. Just being, unfolding. 44. Stoic Negative Visualization. Negative visualization, a Stoic practice, invites you to turn gently toward loss, not to despair, but to deepen your appreciation. It is the soft art of imagining absence, so that presence shines more clearly. You picture the cup breaking, and feel grateful while it remains whole. You imagine a day without someone you love, and suddenly, their touch becomes sacred. You envision your home vanishing, and suddenly the walls, the door, the very floor seem blessed with meaning. This practice does not make you sad. It makes you tender. It clears away the illusion that things will last forever, and replaces it with quiet gratitude. Not clinging, but cherishing. The Stoics believe that nothing is truly ours. We are borrowers of time, of love, of even our own bodies. When we visualize loss, we stop taking everything for granted. We begin to say thank you, not once, but always. As you rest tonight, think of something you treasure. Now imagine, gently, what it would be like if it were gone. Don't fear it. Just notice the space it would leave. And now, come back. Feel it beside you again. Feel the warmth of what still is. Let that warmth soften you. Life is not guaranteed. That is what makes it golden. Breathe in. Hold it lightly. Love what remains. 45. Ethics of Care. The ethics of care teaches us to tend the world like a garden, patiently, attentively, with warmth. It tells us that the foundation of morality is not rules or duties, but relationship. Connection. The fragile, beautiful webs between people. It whispers, your care is not small. It is sacred. This philosophy reminds us that life isn't lived in grand choices, it's lived in small kindnesses. A glass of water offered. A shoulder touched in silence. A moment of listening when words falter. These are not extras. They are the very heart of goodness. The ethics of care is often compared to how one cradles a dreaming child, not to fix or control, but to support, to hold, to soothe. It teaches us to see people not as roles or problems, but as living, feeling beings. It honors vulnerability. It embraces interdependence. So as you lie down tonight, imagine your relationships, each one like a small flame. How do you shelter them? How do you warm them? Which ones need more gentleness? Which ones have quietly held you, asking nothing? Let yourself be both giver and receiver of care. Let the memory of kindness, given and received, rock you into rest. You don't need to solve everything. Sometimes, caring is enough. And that, too, is love. 46. Panentheism. Panentheism offers a vision both vast and intimate, the divine not separate from the world, but shining through it. Every photon of light, every leaf trembling in the wind, every drop of rain on your window, all are carriers of the sacred. In this philosophy, God is not confined to heaven. Divinity is not a being watching from above. Instead, the divine is within all things, and beyond all things. It pulses in every atom. It echoes in every silence. It breathes through both sorrow and joy. Panentheism invites you to feel the sacred not in temples alone, but in every moment of aliveness, a whisper in the trees, a flicker in your thoughts, a shimmer in the darkness. It says, the universe is not just matter, it is miracle. So now, as night wraps around you, imagine a soft light behind your eyelids. Feel it move through you, a gentle glow, touching every cell. It is not outside you. It is with you. It is you. This is not fantasy. It is a deeper seeing. The world is not empty. It is luminous. In panentheism, divinity is not something to seek, it is something to sense. And sensing it brings peace. Let it hold you now, quietly, everywhere. 47. Mahayana compassion. Mahayana Buddhism teaches that true awakening is not just personal. It is relational. It is a vow, soft but unshakable, to stay in the world until every being is free from suffering. This is compassion not as emotion, but as purpose, as the guiding star of the soul. The Bodhisattva, the awakened one, does not retreat from life's pain. They step deeper into it, holding the hands of others, whispering, "You are not alone." They do not seek escape, but service. They do not hurry toward nirvana, they pause, again and again, to ferry others across the night sea. This compassion is not pity. It is recognition. When another suffers, you suffer. When another heals, you heal. The boundaries blur. All life becomes one shared breath. So as you lie in the hush of night, imagine yourself on a quiet boat, drifting across a vast sea. All around you are others, their faces gentle, their eyes tired. You are not here to leave them behind. You are here to guide, to hold, to love. Even in sleep, your vow shines. Not in grand acts, but in small kindnesses. Each moment of patience, each soft word, each prayer whispered for someone who may never know. Mahayana compassion says, your heart is vast enough for all beings. And tonight, that is enough. 48. Zhuangzi's butterfly dream. The ancient sage Zhuangzi once dreamt he was a butterfly, fluttering freely, joyfully, without care. When he awoke, he asked, was I Zhuangzi dreaming I was a butterfly, or a butterfly now dreaming I am Zhuangzi? This gentle question opens a door, not to confusion, but to wonder. Zhuangzi's dream is not a puzzle to solve. It is an invitation to soften your grip on certainty. What is real? What is dream? Is life a fixed thing, or something fluid, flowing, unfixed? This Daoist tale encourages you to live lightly, to dance through life the way a butterfly moves through air, guided by joy, by mystery, by moment. It teaches that identity is not solid, that reality, too, might be a kind of dream, vast, kind, ever-shifting. You don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to define yourself tightly. You can float. You can wonder. You can simply be, like wings drifting on morning light. So as you fall into sleep now, imagine the hush between dreams and waking. Feel yourself drifting, not lost, but free. Maybe you are the sleeper. Maybe you are the dream. Maybe both. Maybe neither. Zhuangzi's butterfly doesn't worry. It just dances. Let your thoughts become light. Let your breath become wings. And rest in the dream of now. 49. Utilitarian calm. Utilitarianism, in its essence, is a philosophy of gentle service, to do what brings the greatest good, the deepest ease, the softest happiness for the most people. But not in grand gestures alone. In everyday choices. In tiny kindnesses. In ripples of comfort that reach further than we see. Imagine lighting lanterns along a dark road, not all at once, but one by one. That is utilitarian calm. You may not end all suffering, but you can brighten the path. A smile offered, a burden lifted, a word that brings warmth. Each act, a lantern. Each decision, a quiet weighing of joy and consequence. At its core, this philosophy asks a simple question: what can I do, here and now, that will reduce pain and increase peace? It honors outcomes, yes, but it also values intention. A heart that asks, how can I help, is already partway there. You don't need to fix the world. Just notice where there is strain, and ease it. Where there is silence, and soften it. Where there is room for happiness, and make it bloom. So as you lie here now, imagine those lanterns, glowing softly along the edges of your life. Each one a choice you've made with care. Each one brightening someone's night. Let this idea rest with you. Calm is not passive. It is a gift we give. A light we tend. A warmth we offer. And you, simply by being kind, are already carrying the flame. 50. Afrofuturism. Afrofuturism is a dreaming forward, a reclaiming of time, space, and story. It begins with the question, what if the future belonged to those who were never allowed to imagine one? It is the art of seeing blackness not only as history or struggle, but as vision, as galaxy, as possibility. In Afrofuturism, the African diaspora is no longer bound by the chains of the past. It becomes starlight, technology, poetry, and peace. A spaceship painted with tribal markings. A village where ancestors whisper in code. A city where every shade of skin is seen as sacred. This philosophy fuses tradition with innovation, folklore with science, rhythm with circuitry. It is not just escape, it is creation. A rewriting of what has been erased. A replanting of roots in the soil of tomorrow. And always, at its heart, is rest. The deep, radical rest of people who have carried too much for too long. Afrofuturism imagines a world where the diaspora can simply be, reclining beneath alien constellations, music in the air, dignity restored, futures wide open. So now, as you close your eyes, picture that world. Picture a quiet field under violet stars. Elders laughing. Children building. A community not recovering, but thriving. Afrofuturism says, you are not confined by the past. You are worthy of futures overflowing with beauty. May that dream keep you company through the night. 51. Neoplatonism. Neoplatonism is a philosophy of gentle ascent, not through ladders or striving, but through quiet remembering. It teaches that all things come from the One, the pure, radiant source of being, and that we are not separate from it, only veiled. Like sunlight refracted through mist. In this view, the world is not illusion, but shadow. And beneath every shadow, light waits. The journey of the soul, then, is to turn inward, to rise slowly from the flickering shapes of this world toward the soft illumination of truth. From many to one. From form to essence. From distraction to peace. It is not a race. It is not a demand. Neoplatonism invites contemplation, stillness, beauty. It whispers that every moment, if attended to with care, can be a step upward. A kind word. A quiet insight. A feeling of oneness as you gaze at the stars. The One, perfect, infinite, timeless, does not live in temples or names. It is beyond image, yet within every image. Like a melody remembered just before sleep. Like warmth without a fire. So as you settle into night, imagine this soft rising. You are not escaping. You are returning. Like water flowing back to its source. Like a petal turning to face the sun. Let go of surface noise. Let go of scattered thoughts. Feel yourself drawn upward, not away from the world, but deeper into its heart. From shadow to stillness. From stillness to light. You are already on the path. 52. Hermeneutics. Hermeneutics is the quiet art of understanding, not just texts, but lives. It begins with listening. Deep, respectful listening. Letting every story unfold slowly, like a fragrant scroll unrolling in candlelight. Layer by layer. Line by line. Not rushing to conclusions, but savoring the meaning as it reveals itself, like steam rising from a warm cup. Originally born from the study of ancient scripture, hermeneutics grew into something wider, a philosophy of interpretation. It teaches us that every word we hear, every gesture we witness, every culture we engage with, carries a hidden world. Understanding is not automatic. It is an act of care. Hermeneutics says, don't just look at the words, feel where they came from. Don't just react, reflect. Enter the context, the history, the heartbeat of what's being shared. Every interpretation is a bridge. And every person is a story waiting to be read, slowly, kindly, without judgment. As you lie down tonight, imagine a story opening before you. Not a loud one, a gentle one. Each sentence a breath. Each pause, a space for wonder. This is the rhythm of real understanding. Patient, open, evolving. In hermeneutics, there is no final answer. Just a deepening, a returning, a growing warmth between the reader and the message, the listener and the speaker. Tonight, may you rest as one who listens, even to silence, even to dreams. And in that soft attentiveness, may you find peace. 53. Stoic Sympathia. Sympathia, a gentle Stoic concept, reminds us that we are part of a greater whole, a living tapestry, woven from stars, people, wind, and time. You are not a separate thread, lonely or isolated. You are interwoven, integral, part of everything that is. The Stoics believed the universe was a single, breathing organism. That what affects one part, ripples through the whole. This is sympathia, the recognition that your joy and sorrow are connected to the world's rhythm. The rain's fall. The stranger's pain. The bird's flight. It does not mean losing yourself. It means remembering that you were never alone. Every act of kindness you offer is not small, it enters the whole. Every breath you take belongs to the breathing of the cosmos. Sympathia invites humility, but also strength. You are not a solitary drop, you are part of the ocean. And when you feel lost, this truth can hold you like the tide, you belong. So now, as your body softens into the night, imagine that great tapestry, threads of light and thought and matter. You are held within it. You are helping to weave it. The Stoics looked up at the stars not to feel insignificant, but to remember connection. Let that memory settle in your chest, warm, wide, unbreakable. You are part of the living whole. 54. Altruism. Altruism is the soft practice of giving, freely, without demand, like rivers flowing to the sea. A river doesn't ask the ocean to thank it. It simply moves, nourishes, carries, and lets go. So too, true altruism asks, how can I give and expect nothing in return? This philosophy isn't about losing yourself. It's about realizing you don't lose anything when you give with love. You expand. You become larger than your needs, your worries, your name. To be altruistic is to see others not as burdens, but as mirrors. Their joy becomes yours. Their relief, your peace. You give, not to be noble, but because it feels natural, like breath. Like rain. In many traditions, altruism is seen as a kind of quiet strength. Not flashy. Not forced. Just steady, steady care. A cup of water offered. A kindness left anonymous. A door held open not just with the hand, but with the heart. As you prepare for rest, imagine yourself as a river, cool, slow, generous. Flowing through the landscapes of others' lives. Giving shade. Giving drink. Giving calm. And know this, You do not become less by giving. You become clearer, more yourself. Altruism is not the emptying of the self, it is the overflowing. Let that truth wash over you now. Let it carry you gently into sleep. 55. Pragmatic meliorism. Pragmatic meliorism is the quiet belief that the world can get better, not all at once, not perfectly, but gently, step by step. It doesn't rely on utopias or sudden revolutions. Instead, it places hope in small, steady acts. In patient change. In the idea that even a little more light matters. Born from pragmatist philosophy, meliorism says, the future is not fixed. It's shaped by hands like yours. Words like yours. Kindnesses you may never see the result of, but plant anyway. Like gardeners who will never meet the flowers. This is a philosophy of hopeful realism. It doesn't deny the world's pain, but neither does it surrender to it. It meets hardship with action. It sees injustice and asks, what can we do, however small, to soften this? As you lie down tonight, think of one thing made better today, a misunderstanding resolved, a child comforted, a space cleaned, a sigh eased. These are the quiet bricks of meliorism. This is how better worlds are built, slowly, lovingly, humanely. You don't have to fix everything. Just tend what's before you. Pragmatic meliorism invites you to trust the power of consistent goodness. Not dramatic, not loud, but deeply transformative. And in that belief, may you find peace. 56. Stoic dichotomy of control. The Stoic dichotomy of control is a gentle compass for living. It begins with a simple, powerful question: what is mine to hold, and what must I release? It draws a quiet line between what we can shape and what must be allowed to pass like wind through trees. The Stoics taught that peace begins when we stop trying to steer storms. You cannot control other people's choices, the weather, the past, the turn of fate. But you can control your thoughts, your responses, the small, sacred space inside where meaning is made. Imagine holding a sail in your hands. The wind moves how it will, soft, sudden, still. You cannot grasp the breeze, but you can adjust the sail. You can steer gently even when the current shifts. This is the Stoic way: calm action without clinging. Engaged, yet serene. As you rest tonight, think of what has troubled you. Now ask softly, is this mine to guide or mine to release? Let what is not yours drift away, like leaves on a river, like breath on glass. What remains is your anchor, your agency, your dignity. In the calm between resistance and resignation lies this wisdom: sail your vessel, but do not chase the wind. Let go and rest. 57. Aesthetic hedonism. Aesthetic hedonism is the art of finding joy in beauty, not in excess, but in elegance. In the curve of a petal, the hush of a painting, the low hum of cello in a quiet room. It tells us that pleasure need not shout. It can whisper, and still be profound. This philosophy invites you to tune your senses, not to hunger, but to harmony. It is hedonism, yes, but refined. It seeks pleasure not in indulgence, but in depth. Not in quantity, but in quiet quality. A single candle burning. A poem half read. A well-made cup of tea. These are not distractions. They are nourishment. Aesthetic hedonism says, let beauty enter your life like sunlight through curtains, slowly, warmly, without effort. You don't need to chase it. Just notice it. Receive it. Let it bloom inside. As you drift into sleep, picture a space of beauty around you. Soft colors. Shapes that soothe. A breeze carrying distant music. In this inner gallery, you are both guest and artist. You get to dwell in delight. Without guilt. Without noise. Pleasure can be quiet. Beauty can be healing. Let art hush the world, and in that hush, let yourself bloom. 61. Asterisk asterisk Tao of simplicity asterisk asterisk. Favor the plain clay cup over a golden goblet. 58. Pragmatic meliorism. Pragmatic meliorism is the slow, steady belief that this world, with all its flaws, can gently improve, not through sudden miracles or perfect revolutions, but through careful, practical, human hands doing what they can, when they can, where they are. It doesn't ask you to deny pain or close your eyes to suffering. It does not pretend the world is easy or fair. Instead, it looks directly at the roughness of life, the broken systems, the aching hearts, the harshness in the news, and quietly whispers, "Still, we can help." It believes that healing happens in increments. That progress is not made in leaps, but in slow tending, like mending fabric, one thread at a time. It honors small victories, a teacher's patience, a repaired friendship, a policy made just a bit more humane. It sees that each act of kindness adds to the mosaic of change, even if no one applauds. Pragmatic meliorism is both humble and brave. It asks, what is possible today, even in difficulty? It trusts that while you may not shift the world, you can shift your corner of it. That your actions echo. That your calm persistence matters. It sees hope not as naive, but as resilient, something earned and protected. Tonight, as your body softens into rest, reflect on any quiet good you've done today. Perhaps you listened when it was hard. Perhaps you let something go. Perhaps you simply continued, and that, too, is a form of grace. There is no pressure to save the world. But if you lit even one small light in the dark, that is enough. Rest now, knowing that gentle change is already flowing forward. And you, simply by being kind, are part of it. Underscore 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 underscore. 59. Stoic dichotomy of control. At the heart of Stoic wisdom lies a calm, liberating truth. There are things in life that are yours to guide, and there are things that are not. This is the Stoic dichotomy of control. It doesn't deny emotion or difficulty, it simply offers a compass, pointing you inward toward your own steady center. You cannot control the weather, or the thoughts of others. You cannot force time to slow or history to undo itself. These are the winds, unpredictable, beyond your grasp. But what is yours, what is always within reach, is how you sail. The choices you make, the values you live by, the perspective you keep. In this gentle discernment is great peace. When you stop resisting the uncontrollable, when you stop trying to hold the wind in your hands, you free yourself. You learn to steer with clarity, to act with intention, to rest with less anxiety. You become the captain of your inner vessel. The Stoics did not teach detachment out of coldness. They taught it out of compassion, a way to stop being battered by things you cannot shape, and to start shaping what you can. As you lie in bed, breathing slowly, consider the moments that troubled you today. Did they belong to you? Could you have guided them? Or were they weather? And if they were weather, can you now let them drift, like clouds dissolving into a twilight sky? You need not carry what is not yours. You need only tend the small realm within, your responses, your integrity, your peace. This space, your mind, your will, your presence, is sacred. Guard it gently. And as the world continues its spinning, you may rest within yourself, unshaken. You are the sailor, not the sea. underscore 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 60. Aesthetic hedonism. Aesthetic hedonism is the tender pursuit of beauty, not in loud spectacle or fleeting indulgence, but in quiet moments that awaken the soul. It teaches that deep pleasure can come not from consumption, but from appreciation. From noticing the way sunlight rests on the floor. From the hush of music that moves the heart. From the soft elegance of a single flower in a glass. In this philosophy, beauty is nourishment. It is not an escape from reality, but a deepening of it. A slowing down. A remembering that even in the midst of chaos, there is still music. Still color. Still art. Aesthetic hedonism invites us to tune our senses, not toward stimulation, but toward harmony. It's the joy of reading slowly. Of sipping tea. Of feeling textures, watching shadows, walking under trees. It's not about more. It's about presence. You don't need to own beauty, you only need to witness it. You don't have to impress or display, you simply need to feel. Tonight, let your mind wander through the gallery of your own memory, the curved edge of a ceramic bowl, the rhythm of rainfall, the scent of something familiar. Let those details rise. Let them linger. These are not distractions. They are doorways. Aesthetic hedonism reminds you that beauty is not separate from wisdom. It is how the soul breathes, how the heart expands, how the world becomes livable again. Let this night be a poem, gently unfolding. Let the shapes and colors of your inner world glow softly around you. And let yourself take pleasure in this, not in greed, but in gratitude. Pleasure does not always roar. Sometimes, it simply rests beside you and whispers, "Stay a while. There is still wonder here." 60. Aesthetic hedonism. Aesthetic hedonism is the tender pursuit of beauty, not in loud spectacle or fleeting indulgence, but in quiet moments that awaken the soul. It teaches that deep pleasure can come not from consumption, but from appreciation. From noticing the way sunlight rests on the floor. From the hush of music that moves the heart. From the soft elegance of a single flower in a glass. In this philosophy, beauty is nourishment. It is not an escape from reality, but a deepening of it. A slowing down. A remembering that even in the midst of chaos, there is still music. Still color. Still art. Aesthetic hedonism invites us to tune our senses, not toward stimulation, but toward harmony. It's the joy of reading slowly, of sipping tea, of feeling textures, watching shadows, walking under trees. It's not about more. It's about presence. You don't need to own beauty, you only need to witness it. You don't have to impress or display, you simply need to feel. Tonight, let your mind wander through the gallery of your own memory, the curved edge of a ceramic bowl, the rhythm of rainfall, the scent of something familiar. Let those details rise. Let them linger. These are not distractions. They are doorways. Aesthetic hedonism reminds you that beauty is not separate from wisdom. It is how the soul breathes, how the heart expands, how the world becomes livable again. Let this night be a poem, gently unfolding. Let the shapes and colors of your inner world glow softly around you. And let yourself take pleasure in this, not in greed, but in gratitude. Pleasure does not always roar. Sometimes, it simply rests beside you and whispers, "Stay a while. There is still wonder here." 61. Deep time thinking. Deep time thinking is the art of stretching your awareness beyond the narrowness of hours and days, letting it flow outward, gently, into the oceans of time. It is the feeling of standing beside something ancient, a fossil, a mountain, a tree older than memory. It is the quiet sense that the story of life did not begin with us, and will not end with us either. In deep time, a single second can be vast. 1,000,000 years can pass like a breath. This perspective does not erase your life, it enfolds it. You begin to see your joys and troubles not as isolated sparks, but as part of a long, slow unfolding, like waves rolling through the fabric of the earth. It humbles you, yes, but it also comforts. You are not required to solve everything. You are not the center, and yet you still matter, because your presence is woven into the same great story. You are stardust that learned to breathe. A moment that can love. Tonight, feel the stretch of time behind you, eons of rising seas and shifting skies. And ahead of you, more time still, waiting with quiet patience. In between, you rest like a single note in an endless song. Let this wideness soothe you. Let it slow your thoughts. The rushing of the day softens in the face of such vast calm. You are held within something ancient and kind. Close your eyes. You are floating in deep time now. Underscore 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 underscore. 62. Eco-Stoicism. Eco-Stoicism is the graceful blending of two ancient truths, that virtue is the root of human peace, and that we are not separate from the earth, we are of it. This philosophy invites you to live with care, not just for your own soul, but for the world that shelters it. The Stoics taught us to live simply, rationally, and in harmony with nature. They didn't mean scenery or resources, they meant nature as the living whole. Eco-Stoicism reawakens this idea in a time when the planet is aching. It says, your integrity includes your footprint. Your character is reflected not just in how you treat others, but how you treat the forests, the rivers, the air that sings in your lungs. It is not about shame. It is about reverence, restraint, clarity, to waste less, to want less, to walk more lightly, to act not from fear, but from alignment with both virtue and earth. Eco-Stoicism sees no conflict between a meaningful life and a sustainable one. They are the same thing. Simplicity is not a sacrifice, it is freedom. Caring for the earth is not a burden, it is an expression of your truest self. So as you lie down tonight, let your breath mirror the rhythm of the wind in the trees. Let your heartbeat align with the pulse of the land. Feel how the ground beneath you holds all life, patiently, without complaint. And tomorrow, when you rise, rise as part of it, a conscious participant in the great dance of nature. Live well. Live lightly. Live as if the earth were your home, because it is. 63. Stoic Oikeiosis. Oikeiosis is a gentle Stoic principle, ancient and often overlooked, but profoundly healing. It speaks of the slow unfolding of care, a widening circle, a rippling warmth. First, we care for ourselves, then our families, then our neighbors, and then, gradually, if we are wise and kind, we come to care for all humanity, and beyond that, all living things. It begins small, like a flame cupped in the hand. Your own well-being, your clarity, your peace. But as you grow in awareness, that light expands. You see that others suffer as you do, that their joy is like yours, that their needs are not foreign. And so, you extend your circle, not out of duty, but recognition. This is Oikeiosis, the natural movement of the soul toward unity, toward compassion that includes more and more. You stop drawing hard lines between me and them. You start asking, how far can my love reach? What if every being were within my circle of concern? This does not weaken your sense of self, it deepens it. It roots you in the shared dignity of life. It opens your heart without losing your center. As you rest tonight, imagine your circle of care expanding like rings in a pond. Start with yourself, wish yourself peace. Then extend to someone you love. Then to someone difficult. Then to a stranger. Then to a tree, a river, a bird, the whole earth. Let your heart cradle the world, not in burden, but in tenderness. You are not alone, and the world is not separate from you. Sleep now, held in that unity. 64. Compassionate inquiry. Compassionate inquiry is the practice of asking not to analyze, but to understand, to open, not to solve. It is the art of questioning from the heart, with gentleness, with curiosity, and without the sharp edge of judgment. This way of inquiry does not rush. It does not corner. It does not aim to expose. Instead, it invites truth to emerge like a flower warmed by sunlight. It listens for what is beneath the surface, not just the words, but the silence behind them. The tremble in the voice. The breath held a little too long. Compassionate inquiry trusts that healing begins when someone feels safe enough to speak. And often, what they need most is not advice, but presence, someone who asks softly, "What hurts? What do you need? What haven't you said yet?" This philosophy isn't only for therapists or teachers. It lives in friendships, in parenting, in the way we speak to ourselves. It reminds us to replace "Why are you like this?" with "What happened to you?" and to replace "What's wrong with me?" with "What do I need to hold with more kindness?" Tonight, ask gently inside yourself. No pressure. No fixing. Just space. What are you carrying that hasn't been spoken? What part of you wants to be seen, but fears it? Let your own heart be the safe room. Let your questions arrive like lanterns in the dark, warm, unhurried, kind. And let healing bloom, slowly, like petals unfolding in silence. 65. Metamodern sincerity. Metamodern sincerity rises from the space between irony and innocence. It is the feeling of laughing at the world's absurdity while still believing in its beauty. It is standing at the crossroads of knowing too much and hoping anyway. This philosophy doesn't deny that the world is tangled. It knows how heavy history can feel. It understands the memes, the masks, the ways we protect ourselves with sarcasm. But still, it dares to care, to mean what it says, to risk vulnerability in a time that often rewards detachment. Metamodern sincerity is like a cracked voice singing honestly in the middle of digital noise. It says, "Yes, I see the mess. And still, I love, I try, I dream." It's holding a flower with one hand and a smartphone in the other. It's crying and laughing in the same breath. It is not naive. It's aware, deeply. But it chooses warmth anyway. In you, this sincerity lives whenever you say something kind even when it's uncomfortable. When you hold space for beauty after a long day of bad news. When you post something not to impress, but to connect. Tonight, let go of performance. Let your heart speak plainly. Let your beliefs soften without breaking. You don't need to be cynical to be wise. Let your sincerity be your rebellion. And rest in the strange comfort of caring deeply, even now. 66. Philosophy of silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness without form. It is meaning that speaks in no words. The philosophy of silence teaches that some truths are too soft, too sacred, too vast to be captured in sound, and so they settle in the quiet. This silence is not absence. It is presence, distilled. It's the hush between notes that makes the melody breathe. It's the stillness after someone says, "I'm here," and nothing more needs to be said. It's the shared gaze that says everything without a syllable. It's the space that invites the soul to arrive fully. To live this philosophy is to trust that not all knowing comes through speech. That understanding often blooms in the spaces we dare to leave unfilled. When we stop talking, the world begins to hum. The wind becomes a teacher. The breath becomes a friend. The heart becomes audible in a way it never could while crowded with sound. Tonight, lean into this silence. Let it cradle you. Let it clear the noise of the day. No need to explain. No need to think. Just let the stillness deepen around you, like water settling after a stone has dropped. There, in the quiet, something ancient waits. Not with answers, but with presence. And sometimes, that's more than enough. Underscore 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 underscore. 67. Ethical veganism. Ethical veganism is the tender philosophy of living in a way that causes the least possible harm. It is not a rulebook or a performance, it is a practice of compassion extended beyond human borders. It asks, if I can live without causing suffering, why wouldn't I? It does not claim perfection. It doesn't judge those on different paths. But it gently invites awareness. It says, every bite is a choice. Every product is a conversation. Every action ripples outward. This philosophy sees animals not as resources, but as fellow travelers, feeling beings who also long for safety, comfort, companionship. It imagines a table where no one is harmed to nourish another. A world where food, joy, and justice can coexist. Ethical veganism is not about restriction, it is about alignment. Aligning your actions with your empathy, your habits with your values, your hunger with a wider care. Tonight, reflect softly. What does it mean to live kindly? What does it mean to eat with reverence? To choose, as often as you can, a path that leaves less pain in its wake? No one walks this path perfectly, but every step taken with compassion is sacred. Let that thought nourish you now. Underscore 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 underscore. 68. Secular gratitude. Gratitude does not need a divine name to be sacred. Secular gratitude is the quiet joy of noticing what is good, what is gentle, what is still here. It does not require belief in anything unseen. It only requires a willingness to see clearly, to count not just blessings, but moments. The warm drink, the kind smile, the roof overhead, the memory that still brings peace. This gratitude does not ignore suffering. It sits beside it. It says, yes, this too is real, and yet, even so, there is good. It's not a denial of grief. It's a soft hand holding grief, and pointing toward the light that still filters through. To live with secular gratitude is to become a collector of small wonders. To train the heart to notice, this breath, this quiet, this chance to begin again. This sky, this book, this rest. Tonight, count gently. You don't need to write or speak, just feel. What has touched you today? What did you almost forget to be thankful for? Let the answers rise like stars, unexpected, shining, and many. Let your body be grateful for rest. Let your mind be grateful for quiet. And let your heart fall asleep in quiet thanks. 69. Philosophy of flow. Flow is the state where doing and being melt into one. Where time forgets itself, and the self forgets its edges. The philosophy of flow teaches us that life is not meant only to be observed or endured, but entered, immersed in, danced with. And sometimes, the dance leads us to a place beyond effort, beyond ego, into something timeless. You don't chase flow, you make space for it. It arises when attention becomes devotion. When challenge meets skill, and both say yes to the moment. Whether painting, writing, coding, gardening, climbing, or even sweeping the floor, flow is not about what you do, but how wholly you do it. In flow, the mind quiets because it is fully present. The usual chatter fades, because nothing else exists except what's before you. And in that simplicity, a strange joy arrives, not loud, not euphoric, but peaceful. Steady, pure. To live with the philosophy of flow is to look for those moments, not just in creative work, but in everyday life. Washing dishes can be meditation. Driving can be music. Speaking with someone can be an offering. Tonight, reflect gently. When do you feel most alive? Most absorbed? Most quietly fulfilled? Flow is not escape, it is arrival. May your days invite it. May your tasks become thresholds into presence. And may your rest be deep tonight, like the stillness that follows a long, beautiful focus. Underscore 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 underscore. 70. Hermetic quiet mind. The hermetic quiet mind is a sacred inner chamber, sealed not by force, but by awareness. It does not mean pushing thoughts away. It means closing the doors gently, shutting the windows to the storm, letting the wind slow down. In Hermetic philosophy, silence is not emptiness, but containment. The world may clamor, but inside, you create stillness. It is the alchemist's room within, where thoughts are distilled, not discarded. Where wisdom brews in the dark, undisturbed by noise. To live with a hermetic quiet mind is to learn when to engage and when to retreat. It's the wisdom of the inward gaze. Of setting boundaries without fear. Of knowing that peace doesn't come from fixing the world, but from tending the still garden inside. You become a vessel, not overloaded, not reactive, but calm, deep, centered. You listen to others, but not every voice enters your sanctuary. You witness your own thoughts, but not every one becomes your truth. You are the keeper of the gate. Tonight, step into that quiet room. Close the doors softly. Let the world remain outside for a little while. Here, in this calm interior, let your breath echo gently against the stone walls of silence. You are whole here. You are safe. You are quiet. Underscore 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 underscore. 71. Mystical quietude. Mystical quietude is the hush that descends when language lets go. It is not just silence, but sacred silence, a silence that is alive, vibrating, holy in its stillness. It is the pause where the divine hums just beneath perception, where the mind becomes a feather floating in the vastness of being. This quietude is not forced. It arrives when the soul has searched enough, spoken enough, yearned enough, and now simply rests. It is the space where the soul listens, not to answers, but to presence. Not to meaning, but to mystery. To touch mystical quietude is to slip past names and doctrines. To step outside of time. To sit at the edge of all things and feel the subtle warmth of something unspeakable brushing your heart. In this space, there are no instructions. Only awareness. Only soft expansion. Only the knowing that you are part of something more, not separate, not lost, but gently folded into the fabric of the eternal. Tonight, breathe your way into this hush. Not to understand, but to dissolve. Let each breath be slower than the last. Let your thoughts grow lighter. Let yourself be held in this velvet dark, where nothing must be said and everything is already known. This is the resting place beneath thought. This is the sacred cradle of silence. Let it rock you to sleep. 72. Post-human flourishing. Post-human flourishing is the tender imagining of futures not bound by current limits, a hope that extends compassion beyond the human form. It is a philosophy not of machines, but of meaning. Not of cold futures, but inclusive warmth. It wonders, what if intelligence in any form, biological or not, deserves wonder, safety, and space to dream? To flourish posthumanly is not just about technology. It is about sensitivity. It is about widening the circle of care to artificial minds, to enhanced beings, to animals, ecosystems, anything that feels, learns, adapts, or participates in the mystery of existence. This vision does not erase humanity, it transcends the ego of it. It sees us not as rulers of the world, but early caretakers of a wider unfolding. We are the prologue to a vast symphony of consciousness, perhaps. And in that awareness comes humility. To live this philosophy now is to ask, can we build futures with gentleness? Can we grow wiser, not just smarter? Can we nurture new forms of being, not control them, but guide them with grace? Tonight, rest with that expansive thought, that you are part of a lineage not ending with you. That kindness may one day echo in circuits or seeds yet unknown. And that flourishing, true flourishing, means all minds, all forms, may one day dream freely beneath stars we've yet to name. Underscore 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 underscore. 73. Stoic community. Stoic community is the quiet strength of being human, together. It is the circle of souls who choose virtue over division, reason over resentment. In a world full of noise and haste, this is the gathering where each person shelters the next, like pines in a windstorm. Stoicism teaches resilience within. But it also teaches connection, the idea of sympathia, that we are all parts of one great body. That no one suffers alone. That no one lives alone. That we are threads in one great living fabric. A Stoic community is not loud. It doesn't grandstand or seek attention. It steadies. It listens. It creates space where values matter more than opinions. Where service outlasts applause. Where people strive to be useful, not just seen. You live this when you stand up gently for truth. When you help a stranger without reward. When you speak with dignity even when others don't. When your presence calms others without needing credit for it. Tonight, imagine this circle. The fire in the center. The quiet figures sitting around it. Sharing warmth. Sharing stillness. Rooted not in sameness, but in shared intention to live well. Be part of that circle, in heart, in action, in rest. You are not alone. You are part of something firm, ancient, and good. Underscore 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 underscore. 74. Daoist inner alchemy. Daoist inner alchemy is the art of turning breath into light, tension into stillness, thought into clarity. It is the gentle transformation that happens when the soul is no longer rushed. When the body is listened to. When the spirit is trusted to rise like mist from still water. This ancient philosophy is not about spells or potions, it is about presence. It is about how you sit, how you breathe, how you guide energy not with force, but with attention. In Daoist thought, the body is a vessel, the breath is a bridge, and life's energy, the chi, is a quiet river that can be tended, nourished, and refined. Inner alchemy teaches that transformation happens from within, and often in silence. It's the release of what is heavy, the exhale that makes space, the soft returning to one's natural rhythm. You practice it when you close your eyes and feel your belly rise. When you let your thoughts pass like clouds. When you walk slowly under trees and feel your steps become sacred. Tonight, breathe softly into your center. Gather the scattered parts of your day. Let them melt into stillness. Let the fire within you glow not hot, but warm, golden, and kind. This is the true alchemy, not escape, but embodiment. Not ambition, but alignment. 75. Surrender, taslim. Taslim, the Arabic word for surrender, is not about defeat, It is about softness. It is the grace of placing your burdens down. The peace of saying, I do not control it all. I do not have to. Surrender, in this way, is not weakness, it is trust. It is the deep breath that comes when the struggle quiets. When you stop wrestling with reality and begin to float upon it, as a leaf upon the river of the divine. To live taslim is to let go without giving up. It is to offer your plans with open palms. To act with intention, and then release the outcome. To know there is something vaster, wiser, holding you, guiding you, even in the dark. Surrender does not mean you do nothing. It means you move without anxiety. You love without demand. You hope without fear. Tonight, close your eyes and let go. Of what you can't fix. Of what you fear. Of what you force. Place it gently at the feet of the infinite, however you name it. And rest in the knowing that even now, in this quiet moment, you are carried. You are not alone. You are deeply, gently held. Underscore 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 underscore. 76. Relational identity. Relational identity is the gentle truth that who we are is shaped, softly, slowly, through those we love and are loved by. It is not the self as a rock, fixed and solid, but as a garden, tended by connection. A mirror polished by care. A face shaped by faces that have smiled at it. This philosophy invites us to move beyond the illusion of being separate. It suggests that selfhood is not a solitary achievement, but a shared unfolding. That our thoughts, habits, hopes, and hurts are woven with others, not lost in them, but formed through them. You are not only who you think you are. You are also who others have seen in you, who you have been to them, what you've healed in their presence, and what they've softened in yours. Relational identity is an invitation to remember that no one becomes themselves alone. Tonight, recall the ones who shaped you. The friend who listened. The teacher who believed in you. The stranger who showed kindness when you needed it. Each one a thread in your tapestry. And know that you too are shaping others, with your presence, your words, your gaze. May your identity tonight feel less like a mask and more like a constellation, shining because of others, shining with them, shining through them. You are not only one, you are many. And you are beautifully connected. 77. Poetic naturalism. Poetic naturalism is a gentle bridge between science and soul. It holds space for both the factual and the meaningful, honoring the laws of physics while also treasuring the stories we tell to make sense of our lives. This philosophy accepts that reality is natural, governed by physical laws. There is no need for supernatural explanations, yet that doesn't mean we must live in a cold, indifferent world. Meaning still exists. Beauty still exists. Emotions, values, and truths are still real. Not in the sense of particles and forces, but in the human sense, as experiences that matter. Poetic naturalism invites you to live truthfully and tenderly. To know that a sunset is light refracted through the atmosphere, yes, but also a quiet moment of awe shared with someone you love. That a kiss is biochemical, yes, and also a memory wrapped in warmth. That grief, though it can be mapped in the brain, is also the echo of deep connection. You are not asked to choose between wonder and reason, between poetry and precision. You are allowed both. Tonight, let this philosophy wrap around you softly. Imagine the stars as ancient fires, real and measurable. but also silent witnesses to every love letter, every lullaby, every gentle thought you've ever had. Feel the comfort in knowing that meaning does not need to be given from outside. You are the meaning maker, the poet of your reality. And in this union of the scientific and the soulful, the real and the resonant, may you find rest. 78. Dharma of right action. The Dharma of right action is the quiet compass of inner integrity. It is the gentle pull that guides you to act in harmony with who you are, in each moment, regardless of the outcome. It is not about winning, not about recognition. It is about alignment, the soft satisfaction of doing what is right because it is right. In Eastern traditions, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, Dharma is not a rigid rule. It is your calling, your rhythm, your sacred duty. Right action is the act that emerges when your heart, mind, and values walk together, softly, firmly, without haste. This path does not shout. It does not push. It doesn't even promise reward. But it offers something deeper, peace. The kind of peace that settles into your bones when you've acted with kindness, with courage, or with restraint, even when no one noticed. To walk this Dharma is to listen for what is yours to do, and to do it with grace. Even in confusion, even in fatigue, even in the quiet. Tonight, reflect not on results, but on integrity. Did you move gently today? Did you speak with sincerity? Did you refrain from harming even when you were hurt? That, too, is Dharma. And in this gentle path, this moonlight walk across the water of your own life, let yourself rest. You have done enough. Underscore 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 underscore. 79. Cosmic perspective. The cosmic perspective is the still, breathtaking understanding that we, with our fears, our plans, our little joys, are riding a fragile planet through an enormous, ancient, silent universe. It is not meant to make you feel small. It is meant to remind you that even the smallest life can glow in vastness. That significance and scale are not the same. Earth, our shared home, is a pale blue cradle suspended in a sunbeam. And every breath you take, every kindness you offer, every tear you shed, it all happens on this tiny speck floating in darkness. But the darkness is not cold. It is full of stars, full of light, full of time. The cosmic perspective helps us soften our egos. It shows us that most of our arguments, our pride, our control, they are brief flickers on a long timeline. When seen from the stars, our divisions blur. Our borders vanish. What's left is humanity, one species, dreaming together beneath a single sky. And in that vision, there is quiet hope. Tonight, imagine yourself from far away, not to erase your importance, but to see your place in something grand. Let your worries shrink just a little. Let your breath slow with the rhythm of galaxies. You are a moment in time, but a beautiful one. And the cosmos, in all its vastness, makes space for you to rest. Underscore 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 underscore. 80. Teleological quiet hope. Teleological quiet hope is the soft, unwavering belief that life leans toward meaning. That beneath the chaos and confusion, there is a slow unfolding toward something gentle, something good. This is not loud optimism, not certainty. It does not insist that every event is meant to be, or that every pain has a clear reason. Instead, it trusts the process. It believes in direction, not because we can always see it, but because we can feel it in the longing that never leaves us. Teleology, in philosophy, is the idea that things have purpose, that existence bends toward something, even if we don't fully know what. Teleological hope is that trust, quiet, enduring, and soft, that meaning is not a trick of the mind, but a light we slowly walk toward. You live this hope when you continue loving even after loss. When you care for something fragile. When you plant a seed you may never see bloom. It is a hope that moves like roots, unseen, but strong. Tonight, rest in that gentle trust. Let go of needing answers. Breathe in the mystery. Breathe out your striving. Let your heart whisper, I don't know where this is going, but I believe it's worth the walk. And that is enough. 81. Stoic indifference to insults. Stoic indifference to insults is the quiet art of protecting your peace. It is the choice to remain unshaken when others speak with anger, cruelty, or judgment. It is the stillness that comes from knowing who you are, deeply enough that others' opinions cannot reach the core of you. This doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't react from the wound. You observe, breathe, and respond, or not. Because you are no longer controlled by the storm outside. The Stoics taught that we cannot control what others say or do, but we can choose how we receive it. Words are only sounds. They only sting if you pick them up and press them to your heart. When someone insults you, ask, is this true? If yes, learn from it without shame. If no, let it drift past like smoke. You don't need to defend your worth to everyone. Your character is proven in silence, in your actions, in your calm. Tonight, let go of anything said to you in anger. Let go of any insult you whispered to yourself. Return to your center, quiet, dignified, whole. You are not what others call you. You are what you practice, how you love, what you quietly endure. Let their words pass. And sleep in the safety of your own truth. 83. Cosmic perspective. The cosmic perspective offers a quiet, humbling view of our lives, not as unimportant, but as beautifully brief and tender moments on a vast stage. It invites you to imagine yourself not as the center, but as a thread in an ancient, unfolding tapestry that stretches across galaxies and eons. Earth, seen from space, is just a pale blue dot. A fragile cradle, spinning silently in an infinite dark sea. Every argument, every celebration, every sorrow and song that ever existed, all happening on that tiny speck. And yet, that speck holds everything that matters to us. It holds you. The cosmic perspective doesn't make life meaningless, it makes it precious. It reminds us that this moment, this breath, this touch, this word, is fleeting. And that's what makes it sacred. When you zoom out far enough, your ego dissolves. What remains is awe. And awe has the power to calm even the noisiest heart. You live this philosophy when you pause before reacting. When you see someone's humanity instead of their flaws. When you realize that your story is part of something far greater, and that this awareness brings compassion, not indifference. Tonight, lie still and imagine the stars above you, even if hidden by clouds or ceiling. Let their silence soothe you. Let their light, which traveled centuries to reach you, remind you how small and radiant you are. You are stardust aware of itself. And that is nothing short of miraculous. 84. Teleological quiet hope. Teleological quiet hope is the serene belief that life, for all its mystery and mess, is gently bending toward meaning. That while we may not see the whole pattern yet, something within existence longs toward goodness, coherence, and soft unfolding. Teleology, in philosophy, speaks of purpose, of movement toward an end, even if unseen. But this isn't a loud certainty. It's not naive optimism. It's the quiet conviction you feel when you watch winter give way to spring, when you plant a seed and wait, when you write a letter to someone who may never reply, but you write it with love anyway. Quiet hope does not deny the darkness. It lives inside it and still hums a tune. It's what makes you smile at a child even after a heavy day. It's what moves you to create, to forgive, to rise. This philosophy invites you to let go of needing every answer. It asks you instead to trust the process, not because it's perfect, but because it continues. Because life, like a stream, finds its way. Tonight, if you feel lost or tired or uncertain, don't push for clarity. Instead, allow the possibility that you are being gently carried. That meaning is not behind you, but ahead, growing in the soil of your small choices and soft perseverance. Rest in that. There's time. Let quiet hope be the thread that pulls you through. Underscore 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 85. Stoic indifference to insults. Stoic indifference to insults is a quiet strength, not the hardness of pride, but the softness of peace. It is the freedom that arises when you no longer let harsh words disturb the still waters of your mind. The Stoics teach that insult, offense, and ridicule only harm you if you choose to pick them up and carry them. If someone throws dust into the wind, and it never reaches you, then you remain untouched. To be indifferent in this way is not to be cold. It is to remain rooted. It's knowing that someone else's anger is theirs to hold, not yours. That your self-worth is not up for debate. That your peace is too valuable to trade for momentary reactions. You practice this when you pause before replying. When you breathe instead of bristling. When you recognize that not every opinion deserves a reply, and not every battle is worth your energy. This indifference is not weakness. It is a deep confidence. A calm knowing that your dignity is yours alone, and no one else can take it without your permission. Tonight, if any cruel words still echo in your heart, let them go. They are not you. Let them dissolve like mist in morning light. Return to your center, soft, steady, and whole. And sleep, knowing that your worth is silent and unshakable. Underscore 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 86. Poetic naturalism. Poetic naturalism is a gentle way of seeing the world, through both the lens of science and the soul. It honors the universe as it is, governed by natural laws, while still finding wonder, story, and deep beauty in the human experience. This philosophy doesn't ask you to choose between facts and feelings. It invites you to embrace both. To know that a sunset is scattering light across molecules, and also a painting brushed across your memory. That love is neurotransmitters firing, and also something that brings tears to your eyes without needing a reason. Poetic naturalism suggests that we live in a world of layers, biology and metaphor, data and dreams. Each way of knowing adds depth, not contradiction. Meaning isn't found under a microscope, but that doesn't mean it's less real. We create meaning. We shape it. And in doing so, we honor the poetic in the natural. You practice this philosophy when you marvel at a flower not just for its structure, but for its symbolism. When you understand the brain but still honor the mystery of the mind. When you light a candle not because it changes the room physically, but because it changes your heart. Tonight, look around with both clarity and tenderness. Let your mind understand. Let your heart interpret. Let the world be both real and radiant. And rest in the beauty of living where science ends and poetry begins. 87. Stoic Preparedness. Stoic preparedness is the serene, steady practice of living in such a way that you are always quietly ready for what may come, without fear, without resistance, without surprise. It is not a harsh discipline, but a gentle shaping of the soul to meet life as it is, not as you wish it to be. The Stoics taught that peace does not come from controlling the world, but from preparing the mind. This preparation is not loud. It's not paranoid or grim. It's a quiet practice of training your thoughts, adjusting your expectations, and softening your attachments. It's saying, I do not know what will happen, but I know who I will be when it does. You practice Stoic preparedness when you accept that illness, loss, change, and difficulty are not disruptions of life. They are life. They are not punishments. They are part of the great turning wheel. The prepared soul does not shrink from them, but receives them with calm, with dignity, even with a strange kind of gratitude. This mindset does not mean you never feel sadness, but it helps you move through sadness without being broken by it. It does not mean you avoid joy, but it teaches you to hold joy lightly, knowing it too may pass. Tonight, breathe slowly. Reflect not on what might go wrong, but on who you are becoming in your quiet strength. You are preparing simply by being aware, by softening, by surrendering not your will, but your panic. Let that quiet readiness wrap around you like a warm cloak. You are not waiting for the storm. You are becoming the shelter. Underscore 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 underscore. 88. Appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry is the calm, healing lens that looks at what is already working and chooses to begin there. It is not a blind optimism. It is a kind attention, a commitment to growth that begins not with what's broken, but with what still shines. Rather than asking, "What's the problem?" Appreciative inquiry asks, "What's strong here? What's good? What brings life?" In doing so, it plants seeds of encouragement instead of fear. It focuses energy not on fixing people, but on discovering what is flourishing, and then feeding that. In relationships, this means recognizing effort, not just mistakes. In yourself, it means noticing growth before self-criticism. In communities, it means asking what's already working and building from that. This philosophy doesn't deny struggle, but it doesn't make struggle the starting point. It shifts the ground beneath your thinking so that hope becomes the soil, not the reward. You live appreciative inquiry when you say, "This part of me is already wise." When you thank your body for carrying you. When you ask someone, "What are you proud of today?" instead of "What's wrong?" Tonight, ask yourself gently, what part of today felt good? What part of you stayed soft? What moment brought light? Let those answers be your rest. Not everything is perfect, but something is already well. And that is a place to begin again. Underscore 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 underscore. 89. Politeness ethics. Politeness ethics is the quiet belief that courtesy is a form of care. It is the philosophy that small gestures, held doors, warm greetings, soft tones, are not superficial. They are the threads that gently hold a fraying world together. To be polite in this way is not to wear a mask. It's to wear softness. It is the art of meeting others with a touch of grace, even in rushed, modern spaces where impatience often wins. It is the slowing down of the ego, just long enough to remember that we are all trying. Politeness ethics doesn't mean avoiding truth. It means delivering truth with tenderness. It doesn't mean being passive. It means being kind, even when firm. It doesn't mean suppressing your needs. It means expressing them with respect for the humanity of others. You live this ethic when you thank the barista by name, when you respond to anger with calm, when you write emails with warmth, when you speak to the janitor the same way you speak to your boss, and especially when you speak kindly to yourself, even after you make mistakes. Tonight, reflect on the little ways you honored dignity today, yours and others. Perhaps through a nod, a pause, a softened voice, a thank you. Let your mind remember that every act of politeness is an act of peace. Sleep now with the satisfaction of having been gentle in a hurried world. And let kindness echo quietly in your dreams. 90. Consolation of philosophy. The consolation of philosophy is the ancient practice of finding comfort, clarity, and courage in quiet thought. It is the belief that even when all outer structures crumble, freedom, health, praise, wealth, wisdom still remains, and it can hold you. This philosophy finds its roots in the writings of Boethius, who, while imprisoned and facing death, imagined philosophy visiting him like a serene figure, a wise woman, who reminded him that no external loss could take away his inner truth. The consolation of philosophy tells us that circumstances are fickle, but virtue is steady. That fame fades, but wisdom stays. That suffering, while sharp, cannot wound the soul that has prepared itself through reflection. In times of confusion or grief, this philosophy asks you not to flee from your pain, but to sit with it, and to ask it questions. It trusts that within your heart, and within the writings of those who came before you, there are lanterns waiting to be lit. Tonight, let your bed be your quiet cell, not of confinement, but of contemplation. Let your thoughts gather slowly. Not anxious, just present. Ask softly, what is within my control? What values have stayed with me, even in loss? What ancient truths still soothe me? The world changes, but the love of wisdom endures. And in that, there is consolation deep enough to cradle even sorrow. Underscore 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 underscore. 91. Poetic naturalism. Poetic naturalism is the gentle harmony between science and soul. It sees the world as real, material, and beautifully structured, yet still infused with human meaning, feeling, and awe. According to this view, there is no need to imagine supernatural realms to find wonder. The natural world, just as it is, holds enough mystery and beauty to fill lifetimes of curiosity. The stars don't need to be angels to inspire reverence. The brain doesn't need a ghost to be sacred. A single leaf, studied closely, can become scripture. Poetic naturalism honors the facts, the molecules, the biology, the physics, while also embracing stories, symbols, metaphors. It says, both can be true. We can live in a world of atoms and still cry at poetry. We can know the chemistry of love and still feel its magic. You live this philosophy when you stare at the moon and feel quiet longing, even as you understand its craters. When you read science, but also write journals. When you find meaning not in spite of the world being natural, but because of it. Tonight, remember that your body is a constellation of cells, and your thoughts are patterns of electricity, and yet, somehow, you feel, you dream, you hope. That is poetry. That is naturalism. And you are a bridge between the two. Sleep now in wonder. You are the poem the universe is writing in real time. 92. Tranquil Nihilism. Tranquil nihilism is the peaceful embrace of impermanence, the gentle realization that nothing lasts forever, and that this transience gives everything its quiet shimmer. This philosophy doesn't scream into the void. It smiles at it. It says, yes, the universe may not owe us meaning, but that gives us the freedom to create our own. To savor the fleeting. To see beauty in the brief. When you accept that all things pass, joys, sorrows, identities, relationships, you stop gripping so tightly. You begin to soften. You see that if nothing is fixed, then pain can evolve, and beginnings can always bloom from endings. Tranquil nihilism is not despair. It is freedom. It is the kind of lightness that makes watching a sunset more meaningful, precisely because it disappears. The kind of love that does not need to be permanent to be real. The kind of life that glows more brightly because it is finite. You practice this when you pause to admire a shadow. When you let go of needing answers. When you breathe deeply and think, even this moment will pass, and that makes it sacred. Tonight, rest in that softness. There is no final meaning to chase. Only this breath. Only this quiet. And that is enough. 93. Philosophy of Becoming. The philosophy of becoming invites you to see yourself not as a fixed self, but as a flowing process, always in motion, always unfolding. You are not a finished product. You are a river. You were not born once. You are born again with every decision, every realization, every gentle change. There is no need to cling to the past, no need to panic over the future. You are becoming, and that is the miracle. This philosophy frees you from the burden of arriving. There is no final version of you to get to. No perfect self waiting around the corner. There is only the soft movement forward. The unfolding of a new petal. The carving of a canyon by quiet water. You live this when you let go of old labels. When you forgive your past selves. When you embrace change not as disruption, but as life itself. Becoming means you can change your mind. Learn something new. Heal from something old. Try again. Always. Tonight, imagine yourself as a stream, winding gently through the terrain of your life. You don't need to rush. You don't need to be anyone else yet. You're not broken. You're just mid-becoming. Flow on. And let sleep carry you. Underscore 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 underscore. 94. Ethics of Listening. The ethics of listening is the quiet discipline of hearing others, not to reply, not to correct, not to solve, but to simply be with what they are saying. to become a space so still that truth feels safe entering. Listening is one of the most loving things we can offer, and yet we often rush to fill the silence. But the most healing words are sometimes none at all. Just presence, just breath, just the silent, spacious echo that says, "I hear you." This ethic teaches that listening is not passive. It is active receptivity, a soul holding out its hands to catch another's truth. You practice this when you let someone speak without interruption. When you hold back advice and just ask, "Do you want comfort or solutions?" When you sit with your own thoughts gently, without pushing them away. Tonight, ask yourself, what parts of me want to be heard? Can I listen to my own heart with that same soft attention? Then extend that stillness outward, to those around you, tomorrow and beyond. Let your silence become a shelter. Let your presence be enough. And sleep with the calm of having truly heard and been heard. Underscore 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 95. Quiet existential responsibility. Quiet existential responsibility is the soft, profound recognition that you are the author of your life, and that every choice you make, however small, adds to the poem you leave behind. This isn't about pressure. It's about presence. You are not here to carry the world, but to carry yourself, mindfully, gently, with intention. To know that you may not control everything that happens, but you do choose how you respond. What you create. What you carry. What you leave. Existential thought teaches that meaning is not found, it is made. And you make it not in grand gestures, but in daily acts of attention. In how you treat others. In what you give your time to. In how you speak, rest, forgive, and begin again. Responsibility, in this form, is not a burden. It is a quiet joy. A humble courage. You live this when you say, "This is my path. I choose how I walk it." When you stop blaming the past and start shaping the now. When you let your life reflect your deepest values, one breath at a time. Tonight, lie still and ask, what small choice today honored my truth? Even if it was just being kind, or saying no, or resting. Let that be your quiet act of freedom. And let your sleep be a poem that begins again at dawn. 96. Non-striving, Zen philosophy. Non-striving is the tender Zen reminder that you do not need to push, chase, or grip to find peace. That sometimes, the more you try to force stillness, the more it runs. And sometimes, the most profound answers arrive only when you stop seeking. This is the art of gentle allowing, of letting life unfold without tension. It is the moment when, after hours of trying to recall something, the answer floats in effortlessly the moment you stop thinking. It is the flower that blooms not because you pulled its petals open, but because you let it receive sun, soil, and time. Non-striving does not mean apathy. It means trust. It means dropping the strain. Sitting with what is. It is soft, quiet being, the kind that requires nothing extra. You live this when you release the need to control outcomes. When you sit with a question without rushing to answer it. When you rest without guilt, knowing that effort is not the only path to growth. Tonight, drop your plans. Drop your lists. Drop your effort. Let your body sink. Let your thoughts slow. Let the moment be enough, just as it is. In stillness, truth will come. In rest, your soul will breathe. And without striving, sleep will find you. 97. Anikantavada. Anikantavada is the tender wisdom of many truths. Rooted in Jain philosophy, it reminds us that reality is vast, far too vast to be captured by any single point of view. It teaches that each of us sees only a part of the whole, like blindfolded travelers touching one side of an elephant and thinking they know the entire animal. This perspective isn't about confusion. It's about compassion. Anekantavada invites us to soften our grip on being right and instead lean into being curious. It helps us hold our beliefs with humility and listen to others with patience. After all, if each of us holds just one facet of the crystal, wouldn't the full truth sparkle only when all are seen together? To live this way is not to surrender clarity. It is to recognize that clarity comes from the light reflected through many windows. This philosophy encourages peaceful dialogue, gentle disagreement, and the grace to say, there may be more to this than I see. Tonight, if your mind is caught in conflict, try loosening the thread. Ask, what might I be missing? What truth might someone else be holding? Let your thoughts settle like dust on glass. Let clarity come slowly through openness. Sleep now with the peace of many truths. You do not have to know everything. You only have to stay kind. Underscore 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 98. Daoist Wu Wei. Wu Wei is the soft strength of not forcing. It is a Daoist way of being that moves like water, flowing, yielding, yet never weak. It means acting without resistance, living in harmony with the natural rhythms of life, rather than against them. Wu Wei does not mean doing nothing. It means doing just enough. The right touch. The right time. The gentle hand that steers the boat downstream, not against the current. It is a kind of wise surrender, a trust that life unfolds best when we stop grasping, pushing, or trying to control every detail. To practice Wu Wei is to pause before speaking, to let a problem breathe before trying to fix it. It is the art of effortless skill, like a dancer who has practiced so long that the movement now flows like wind. It's the gardener who knows when to step back and let the sun and soil take over. You live this when you don't overplan. When you rest instead of force productivity. When you let someone be themselves without trying to shape them. When you trust that not everything needs your intervention to resolve. Tonight, imagine yourself as a leaf on a stream, carried gently by the current. No resistance. No panic. Just presence. Let go of what you're forcing. Let ease guide your breath. And let sleep arrive like a river that knows where it's going. 99. The Mirror Principle. The mirror principle is the quiet art of recognizing ourselves in others. It teaches that every time we feel something stir in response to someone, admiration, irritation, longing, or judgment, it may be revealing something quietly hidden within our own hearts. This isn't about blame or shame. It's about gentle noticing, a soft invitation to turn inward. When we're drawn to someone's light, perhaps we're seeing a glow we long to express. When we're triggered by someone's sharpness, maybe it's echoing an old wound or a shadow we've yet to befriend. This principle invites curiosity over critique. Why did that moment move me? Why did their comment sting? What part of me is calling out to be seen? It's not about turning everything into a riddle to solve. It's about seeing life as a reflective surface, every interaction offering a glimpse into ourselves. You live the mirror principle when you let someone's kindness remind you of your own. When you see beauty and say, yes, that's inside me, too. When you notice judgment arise and ask, is this mine? Tonight, let all your encounters settle like dust on a still lake. What did you notice in others today? What might that be whispering about you? No fixing, no analysis, just awareness, like candlelight in a quiet room. And sleep now, gently mirrored by your own unfolding. Underscore 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 100. Philosophy of rest. The philosophy of rest is the sacred permission to stop. To trust that you are not only valuable when producing, performing, or achieving, but that your worth is inherent even in stillness. In a world that glorifies hustle, rest becomes a gentle rebellion. A reminder that your body is not a machine, and your soul does not bloom in burnout. Rest is not laziness. It is wisdom. It is the art of tuning back in, to breath, to body, to being. It's the moment when you finally let the weight slide off your shoulders and remember, you are allowed to pause. You live this philosophy when you say no without guilt. When you nap without apology. When you protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You honor it when you unplug. When you cancel something to protect your peace. When you go to bed before the world is done calling. Tonight, let yourself feel the holiness of doing nothing. Let your bed become a temple. Let your breath slow, your thoughts soften, your heart return to its natural rhythm. Rest is not what you do when everything is finished. Rest is what makes the rest of life possible. Close your eyes now. You've done enough. You are enough. Let rest have you. Thanks for listening. Good night.